Felix Trinidad took a while to get out there. Now they will get their instructions from referee Mitch Halpern. Felix Trinidad doesn't want to go to the center of the ring for some reason. I haven't seen a fighter delay this long.
Now he's getting greased up by his dad right now. And he says, we'll come out when we're ready and when we're done.
Is this a little psych job, perhaps, they're trying to do on Oscar De La Hoya? They're taking their sweet time. Now, Mitch Halpern, well, he's still not going to the center of the ring. I have never seen a fighter delay this long.
You know, all through the press tour, Felix Trinidad was complaining about the fact that Oscar De La Hoya wouldn't look at him. They're not going to bother shaking hands. De La Hoya didn't look at him. Trinidad didn't come out. Apparently, they just want to fight.
Well, Mitch Halpern is still going to need to call them to the center of the ring. It's customary and it's official.
And
he's waiting.
To the corners. He has, of course, already given the instructions, the full instructions in their dressing room. So this will be mercifully quick, finally, when they get out there. Their whole lives have led up to this moment. And while some may want to say that it really isn't so, I do believe this is the defining moment in the careers of Felix Trinidad and Oscar De La Hoya.
There's no question it is. The tension in this arena is palpable. It is quiet, but it's quiet because the tension is existing. And this is a fascinating... They didn't have Felix Trinidad's mouthpiece. This is pretty astonishing.
This is really amazing. It's shocking.
Well, there's the mouthpiece of Felix Trinidad. Just when you think you've seen everything in boxing, his corner forgot the mouthpiece for the most important moment of his career. There it is.
So it was no psych job. It was no psych job. It was just a mistake.
Forgetfulness, unless they did it on purpose, but I doubt that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So here we go. Now they face each other. Felix Trinidad Sr. and Robert Alcazar were talking trash to each other, and when Trinidad hit De La Hoya's gloves, he meant it. So guess what, folks? The fight is on.
Now there's the possibility of anything happening here at the very beginning of this fight. Both these guys have tremendous power. Both men have been down.
Trinidad is supposed to be the slower starter, but don't go to the bank on that. De La Hoya has told us he will box. He wants to counterpunch. Will that be his strategy? So far, he is moving.
I went to a De La Hoya training session in Big Bear, California. He said, I'm going to box, box, box. He said that when he was up in the room, up in the ring, moving around. Box, box, box.
So far, that is exactly what he is doing. Trinidad trying to get his jab established. Both he and De La Hoya want to use that punch.
It is often said that Felix Trinidad is a slow starter, but he is not a slow starter because his body doesn't allow him to start quickly. He is a slow starter in another sense, Al, and that's because he studies his opponent in the first round or two. He uses that as a study hall. He gives them little moves, sees how they react, sees what they have, sees how they throw punches. So Felix Trinidad probably could start quicker if he wanted to, but he wants to know everything there is to know about his opponent before he really goes to work.
And he is the first one to try and use the jab. De La Hoya has not thrown a punch yet, and we are over a minute into the first round. Trinidad still throwing some jabs. There's De La Hoya finally starting to get on track a little bit. So very much a feeling out first round. There's De La Hoya with a jab and a straight right hand. Neither man has felt the other's punch yet. We are halfway through round one. De La Hoya misses with a big left hook.
You saw the speed of hand, though, of that De La Hoya left hook. He's quicker-handed, I believe, than Trinidad. Trinidad, however, punches straighter. Will that negate that edge and speed? That's one of the big questions surrounding the bout.
Probably the only punch in which Trinidad isn't as compact as De La Hoya is with the left hook, and that could be a big weapon for De La Hoya if he gets inside one of those left hooks of Trinidad and throws his own. Now De La Hoya starting to move forward, showing Trinidad a different look here. So first it was Trinidad pursuing, now it's De La Hoya.
just subtly, changing the momentum to where De La Hoya is moving forward. First combination.
And you know what's impressive so far is the hand speed of De La Hoya, even though he's not landing right away. Now remember, he hurt his left hand against Obakar. He just kind of shook it a little bit there. Some were whispering that his left hand wasn't completely healed. Look at the problem Trinidad has, though, when De La Hoya is moving. Trinidad has a tough time hitting a moving target.
Oscar's body looks much better defined than it did in that last fight with Obakar.
Well, a very nondescript first round. Round two, Oscar De La Hoya in the blue trunks, Felix Trinidad in the white. They hardly need an introduction to you, but there it is nevertheless.
Something to keep in mind, Al, Felix Trinidad has been down 6 times in his career, all of them in the second round. A weird stat.
That is a strange stat. Now, Trinidad going after De La Hoya. He says he wants that, De La Hoya does. He'd like to counterpunch him. We heard Alcazar say, look for that left hook. That is the power punch for Oscar De La Hoya. It comes down to the Trinidad right or the De La Hoya left hook, most people believe.
Alcazar said that this would be an easy fight for him, that it would be similar to the Rafael Ruelas fight. Bob Arum actually said this week and was quoted in the newspaper that he thought truthfully that it would be a walk in the park for Oscar.
I don't know about that, but it could turn out to be that way, and of course that's the charm of this fight. It could turn out to be that way for either man. So far it's been a very tentative beginning in round one and this part of round two, as both men use these rounds as a feeling out process. Trinidad has thrown more punches than Oscar. There's the first jab landed by Oscar De La Hoya. Neither man has landed much. Right hand gets in over the jab by Trinidad. That's something he'll want to do as this fight progresses.
Starting to get a little more active. You see Trinidad normally has a work volume that picks up in the first 2 or 3 rounds, bit by bit.
Very important now, De La Hoya is starting to use the jab and use it with conviction. And misses with those combinations.
Trinidad was wary there, and he backed off as soon as Oscar started coming to him.
The movement of De La Hoya so far, though, very important for him, I think, because he does not want to be flat-footed against a big power puncher like Felix Trinidad. And he hasn't been. Trinidad with the lead right that doesn't quite get there, and so far it has been a chess match. We doubt it'll be that for the entire 12 rounds. Left hand gets in by Trinidad.
Trinidad beginning to get more active now, Al. Beginning to get into the fight here a little bit.
Moment ago, wide left hook by Trinidad. That's a dangerous move for him. There's about a half-minute left in this round, and De La Hoya runs the risk of losing these early rounds, because he's done literally nothing offensively, very little there. He throws but misses a couple of shots. Right hand by Felix Trinidad.
Tito starting to take more chances, too. Oscar heard that 10-second warning and goes to work.
Right hand by Trinidad, by De La Hoya. Very close round. We head into round 3. And round 2, while it wasn't a wild, active round, as you said, Rich, things did pick up.
Trinidad is moving in. It looks to me like he's willing to take more chances. He's tasted a little bit of Oscar's power, but he certainly hasn't tasted the big punch yet. But he's getting a little bit bolder, and Oscar hopes to make that work to his advantage in terms of counterpunching. You saw he tried to counter that jab there.
De La Hoya and Trinidad both want to establish the jab. So far, Trinidad has used that punch a little bit more. Neither man has made it work real well. Again, there's the hook by Trinidad. He's thrown more right hooks than he has straight right hands, and Oscar's thrown more straight right hands than he has left hooks. That's the big surprise so far.
Each man has gotten close on a few occasions, and you just hear the buzz go right through the crowd every time either one of them does.
Because there is the feeling that somebody could knock somebody down or out with one punch. Trinidad so far, I think, is making one dangerous move, and that's he's throwing lots of left hooks, and they're going kind of wide.
Very little body punching so far.
Very little punching period so far. Halfway through round 3. So far, Trinidad has been the aggressor, and what little damage has been done primarily has been done by him, although round 2 was very, very close. De La Hoya still moving. He's had lateral movement throughout. A couple of little combinations, but he didn't really set down on any of those punches, did Oscar. Trinidad cutting the distance down between himself and De La Hoya. De La Hoya misses with the big right hand there.
And did you see how quickly he brought his hand back in a defensive posture after throwing that and missing?
Good jabs by Trinidad, but then De La Hoya comes back in his own. Good uppercut by De La Hoya.
First significant punch of the fight.
The best for De La Hoya, to be sure. And there's the De La Hoya jab getting in, and now things are starting to heat up a little bit toward the end of round 3.
Oscar's jabbing more in this fight. He does have a great jab when he chooses to use it, Al. He showed that against Miguel Angel Gonzalez when he jabbed all night his way to a victory. It's a real strong, quick jab, and he's using it in this round. Oscar's game plan was working there in the last minute.
So we head into round 4. Al Bernstein along with Rich Barada. Delighted you are watching with us the fight of the millennium. Oscar De La Hoya in the blue trunks, the WBC welterweight champ in the white trunks. It's Felix Trinidad, the IBF champion. There's De La Hoya going to work with his jab. Things have started to heat up in this match.
I thought both fighters looked tight in the first 3 rounds, not relaxed down, not really letting things go in the fluid nature that they normally do.
And now we are seeing a little more of that as they both go after each other. You see both men intent on trying to establish that jab.
Slight blood from the nose of Felix Trinidad, not a factor at this point.
They are mirror images of each other in the ring. They are the same height, the same weight. Both have good boxing skills and both have power. Mitch Halpern, the third man of the ring, has barely had to step in to even break a clinch. Good right hand by Trinidad. That's what he wants to get in.
One of the strong points of Halpern is that he is so unobtrusive. Oscar looking to confuse Trinidad.
There's Trinidad using his jab. Again, the lateral movement of Oscar De La Hoya. There's the hook by Trinidad. He's going to want to throw that punch, and it's a danger for him because De La Hoya could counter him with his own hook. But so far, he's getting away with it. Now Trinidad becoming the aggressor. Trinidad walks into a jab as he tries to throw the right hand. The De La Hoya jab now starting to get there a little more. These early rounds are important, Rich, because they're so close, it's tough to know who they're going to go to.
Tito, look, that was a great body shot by De La Hoya, but Tito has looked a little more urgent in his desire to get at Oscar in this round. But Oscar working that jab.
Good counter-punching by De La Hoya as he gets a few shots in, and there again uses the jab. Half a minute left to go in round 4 in these rounds that are slipping by, and I'll tell you what, it's very tough to tell where the momentum of this fight is headed. Missed by Trinidad with the uppercut. Again, De La Hoya sticking the jab out there. In this round, De La Hoya's jab has been more present. Good right by De La Hoya.
And he got right back out again. He got close to Trinidad, landed the right, and backed away.
We head into round 5. It is scheduled for 12. It is for both the IBF and WBC welterweight championship of the world. Oscar De La Hoya in the blue trunks, Felix Trinidad in the white. It's been a chess match so far.
No matter what they've said previous, you can see that they have great respect for each other's punching power.
They have to. Big right counter. Now, De La Hoya really wants to counter Trinidad, and we heard Roberto Alcazar saying every time he punches, counter. Good right by De La Hoya. Now here's the De La Hoya that could get in trouble, standing right in front of Trinidad, and he just got hit with the right hand. No movement, just kind of staying there, not punching. That's what he did against Corte. There's the jab of De La Hoya getting in.
The fight has not had the explosive punching power that we saw in the Corte fight in selected rounds thus far. And it hasn't had the explosive punching that we expected to see in this fight yet.
Trinidad misses with the hook. He's insisting on throwing the hook, and De La Hoya is not making the most of that by countering with his own hook, which is believed to be the more powerful punch of the two hooks.
Tito chasing, Oscar boxing, staying on his toes as he promised he would.
And De La Hoya is using the jab as he promised he would. Trinidad actually abandoned his jab a little bit in the last round or so. There's the jab from Trinidad. Neither man landing effectively all the time with it. There's the left hook from De La Hoya. It missed, as did the right. Good right and a hook from De La Hoya.
That shook up Trinidad a little bit.
Nice hand speed by De La Hoya. The lateral movement of De La Hoya is giving Trinidad problems. Make no mistake about that.
Because Trinidad, usually by this time in any fight, has long studied his opponent and is actively breaking down his opponent at that time. Trinidad is good at cutting off the ring, but De La Hoya is moving around.
Well, he's giving him movement both ways. And just the movement wouldn't win him around, but De La Hoya has punched enough to get it done. There's a nice right hand by Trinidad over a lazy jab of De La Hoya. Again, very close rounds. And those are the kind of combinations that can win. He pushes Trinidad back, may have hurt him with the right hand. And there is swelling around the left eye of Tito Trinidad. So Felix Trinidad comes out here in round 6 after having suffered a bit toward the end of the 5th round.
I think Oscar De La Hoya is winning this fight so far, Al, based on his boxing ability and his snaking left jab. And Trinidad is having all kinds of trouble reaching Oscar with his punches.
And now the combination punching of De La Hoya is becoming a big factor. His hand speed is giving Trinidad some other problems. We are in round 5. De La Hoya continues his lateral movement as Trinidad comes forward.
He's not giving Trinidad any opportunity to build up any momentum with combination punches. It's just a punch here or there that Trinidad is getting in.
Should De La Hoya be busier though, Rich?
Yeah, he probably could be, but he's very concentrating on sticking to his fight game plan, which obviously is movement, distance.
Trinidad continues his assault. Good right hand by Felix Trinidad. Raised the head of De La Hoya. Trinidad the aggressor in this round, but early in the round, De La Hoya landed good. Good right hand by De La Hoya. And another. He's punching with power with that right hand. The cleaner power punches so far have belonged to De La Hoya. And I think that swelling under the left eye of Trinidad is going to be a cause for concern pretty soon if De La Hoya hits it with a few more right hands.
Trinidad continues to follow, and some of the fans beginning to get on the fighters for lack of action. They expected more, or perhaps getting on Oscar for this particular strategy.
He's certainly using all of this ring. And they're not used to seeing that so much from De La Hoya in recent fights. There's the jab again by De La Hoya. Trinidad frozen with that jab, gets hit with the jab and misses the right hand, does Trinidad. Tactically, De La Hoya is controlling this fight right now. Of course, remember, there's power in that right hand of Trinidad. Quick right by De La Hoya. The hand speed of De La Hoya, I think, is the difference so far, Rich.
Well, because when he uses it, he's using it in combinations.
Good jab again by De La Hoya. He is looser now, and he is throwing some shots. And he has had himself a pretty good round. The difference is he's throwing more than one punch at a time, and Trinidad's throwing only one. We head into round 7, and that's the salient question now, I think, Rich. And let's see. De La Hoya will certainly want to box for a few more rounds, I would think. He seems to have the better power later in fights. He's shown it in a couple of fights.
Trinidad did well in the opening minute of the previous round, but then he let De La Hoya get back on top once again. And Trinidad comes out starting fast again here at the start of round 7. But he has been unable really to control the whole round to this point.
And I think Trinidad respects De La Hoya's power. He's not, when he's coming in, he's frozen at times, not wanting to throw caution to the wind. Again, the lateral movement from De La Hoya. He's content to fight in spurts, but it's been effective for him. Blocks the left hook by Trinidad. Some of the crowd getting on De La Hoya for his movement. They want to see more action. Left hook gets in by De La Hoya as he throws a 3-punch combination.
Well, we could tell what De La Hoya's strategy was in the first 30 seconds, exactly how he's going to fight this fight.
And amazingly, he stayed to it. Good right hand. Are you surprised that De La Hoya's been able to get his right hand in as much as he has?
Yeah, I think I am. He has been able to land it either as a lead or as a counter. But Trinidad is starting to take some chances here, I think, and he could leave himself open even more to it, Al.
Right hand misses by Trinidad. De La Hoya continues the lateral movement, taps him with a jab. And even though the De La Hoya jab isn't landing a lot, it's really keeping Trinidad neutralized and not allowing him to throw those big power shots. See, even when Trinidad has him near the ropes, Rich, he is not just coming in trying to get to him. He has some trepidation. There's wild left hooks that miss by Trinidad. And the hook from De La Hoya gets in. The difference is hand speed right now.
Trinidad has been more aggressive this round, but Oscar makes him pay for the mistakes.
Boy, that lateral movement is just befuddling Trinidad. And when De La Hoya does punch, he's effective. Can De La Hoya move for 12 rounds like this?
Well, he can. I think he can, because Trinidad's not putting enough pressure on him. He's not hitting him enough punches. He's not doing anything to wear Oscar De La Hoya down.
Right hand again gets in by De La Hoya. And again, De La Hoya steals the action at the end of the round. The jab by Trinidad. Counter right by De La Hoya. And Trinidad gets his own right hand in. So it's good. Oh, and Trinidad hits him after the bell. Well, we head into round 8. The crowd is into it. It has been a tactical fight, but a pretty interesting one in certain ways. De La Hoya boxing, Trinidad stalking, but not stalking in a wild fashion, because he knows he's been stunned a couple times, I think, by right hands and left hooks by De La Hoya.
I expected more of a shootout. Trinidad's coming faster here, Al, coming after him.
Well, his father whacked him 2 or 3 times in the corner and said, we got to get after him. But of course, there's danger there, because he could walk into a big counter punch, which he did earlier. See, the hook doesn't get there for Trinidad, and the more he throws that left hook, the more he might get countered by De La Hoya. Although De La Hoya hasn't thrown his own left hook much in this fight.
I am surprised Oscar is...
Well, good hook by Oscar after the right hand.
Oscar's done well getting his right hand up to block the left hooks of Felix Trinidad.
The jabs and the right hands by De La Hoya.
De La Hoya in this round is putting on a clinic.
Body punches by Oscar. Oh, warning to keep it up from Halper, and didn't look like there was a low blow there. Oh, jab to the body and a straight right to the head. You can feel De La Hoya starting to vary his attack. And right now it's Trinidad who looks more one-dimensional coming in.
Very surprising. Trinidad's supposed to be the two-handed fighter with a varied attack.
Good right by, oh, there goes De La Hoya with a good combination after Trinidad had landed an excellent right hand. That's the difference in this fight. Trinidad throws one punch at a time, De La Hoya throws a couple. There's the lateral movement again being a problem for Trinidad. He just can't hit De La Hoya. And when he does cut the ring off, Rich, he's still not able to corner him and hit him.
Yeah, he's not cutting it off much in this round. Oscar able to move side to side, the circular fashion. He's been doing what he wants. I wonder if Felix Trinidad is beginning to be discouraged.
Good right by De La Hoya. He's just pecking away, finding his spots, throwing combinations, then getting out of dodge. And the wide hook of Trinidad, very bad for him. Oh, that one got in. But normally, it's a punch he doesn't want to throw.
The first one Oscar blocked with his hand, like we mentioned he had been doing throughout the bout, but that second one did get home, and Oscar got wide open for some reason defensively.
Every time the last 10 seconds come up, De La Hoya attacks. And again, after the bell, comes Trinidad with a punch. Certainly Trinidad has landed a couple of good shots, but they don't seem to have affected De La Hoya that much. If anything, I think, would you agree, the power of De La Hoya has been felt more by Trinidad?
Oh, yes, without question. And the combinations have been stinging.
Yeah.
Very sharp.
And we've not seen the Trinidad right hand as much as we might have, although he has landed it on several occasions. And the battle of the jabs now being won by De La Hoya since about the second round. That was a good left hook to the body by Trinidad.
I must admit, I did expect more of a shootout between these two.
I did too, truthfully.
I thought there'd be some hellacious exchanges. It hasn't been that way, but De La Hoya is picking up in confidence now and letting the combinations fly.
Boy, is he working the body of Felix Trinidad and not paying for it at all. He's working on the inside to the body and not taking any counter punches by Trinidad. But of course, that could be dangerous for De La Hoya because Trinidad has that big right hand waiting.
But Oscar seems to sense something here.
His foot speed, De La Hoya's foot speed, Rich, is making a big difference. This is probably the best pure boxing exhibition De La Hoya has given in a long time, maybe ever. Again, the jab of De La Hoya continues out there.
Trinidad has just been unable to sustain any kind of attack. I mean, there's a punch here, punch there. Again, that right hand up to block the punch by De La Hoya.
Well, when Felix Trinidad is reduced to mostly throwing left hooks, you know he's got a problem. That is not, while he has a decent left hook, that's not the place where you look for him to dominate you.
However, you must remember, and I'm sure Oscar does, as he takes that right hand, that he can't get complacent in the ring. He cannot get complacent defensively and get too relaxed because Trinidad can make him pay at any moment.
Right hand by De La Hoya, a left hook by Trinidad.
Yeah, now that's one that he turned over. He does that very well. A good little short left hook inside by Trinidad.
De La Hoya's getting into a bad habit here, though, of throwing a bunch of pity-pat punches instead of setting down on him for his combo. That left hook he set down on, but missed. Big right by De La Hoya. Again, a round in which De La Hoya's boxing skills look to be enough to win this round. Although Trinidad has landed some good shots. But early, De La Hoya landing lots of body punches.
Well, whenever Oscar hears that 10-second warning, he goes right to work.
We had the round 10. Going into this fight, it would appear that Oscar De La Hoya's best chance for power punches was the left hook, and Trinidad was his right hand. It has been just the opposite. De La Hoya's landed mostly right hands, and Trinidad has tried at least mostly to land the left hooks, though he has dropped in some right hands. As the hook again by Trinidad. Good hook again by Trinidad. That one got there. We haven't seen the hook of De La Hoya that much. Do you think it could be impaired still from the Obakar fight?
Well, it's possible. I don't think so. I've seen him throw it a few times with enough power in ones that he's missed to make me think that he's throwing it with intention.
We're in round 10. It is scheduled for 12. There have been no knockdowns. No one has been close to being knocked down.
I thought Tito was coming on a little in that last round. Even if he lost the round, I thought he was doing better. And he's come out here again intent on getting to Oscar.
And in this round, he has landed some pretty good shots and not taken as many counter punches from De La Hoya.
But Oscar's done a good enough job of boxing or getting a hand in front of his face or sliding with a punch that I don't think even yet he has tasted full power from Felix Trinidad. And that's just what he wants. He wants to go through 12 rounds without ever once facing the full power of Trinidad.
Now in this round, though, De La Hoya has done very little offensively. If he's going to win this round, he's going to have to really make an effort. And here we are, 10 rounds into this bout, and still both men aware of the power of the other man, not willing to take too many chances.
Well, I think Trinidad's got to change that.
I believe you're right.
He's really got to let his hands fly. Trinidad may be a little heavier-handed, but really Oscar's had the far flashier combinations and the sharper punches. Trinidad is winning this round, however, on aggression.
Yes, he is. And with only seconds remaining, Felix Trinidad having one of his better rounds in this bout and lands a couple of right hands against Oscar De La Hoya. Here comes De La Hoya, and they have a big exchange, but those are not punches thrown with conviction by De La Hoya. Those are pity-pat punches. There's Tito Trinidad. He's fired up over what he did in the 10th round. Let's see if he can continue it. One round does not a fight make, though, and certainly De La Hoya did a lot of good work early.
Now, De La Hoya's trainer, Robert Alcazar, very clear in his instructions. Just box him 2 more rounds and we go home with the belts.
Could Oscar be getting tired? He got nailed with a big right hand by Trinidad. They both have been over the 10-round limit. You saw the graphic. De La Hoya now boxing, moving at least. Trinidad looks renewed, though. He is chasing Oscar with renewed vigor. And De La Hoya not counterpunching much.
He's going to need to let his hands fly.
De La Hoya has the look of a fighter who is either tired or running out of gas.
He looks to me like he did in the 7th and 8th rounds against Ike Corte. Oscar had it all his own way for a few rounds there, but the momentum is switching in this fight.
He had a very good segment in the middle of this fight, but now Felix Trinidad has been relentless in his pursuit, and he's got 2 more rounds to make something happen. He's doing very well here in the 11th is Tito Trinidad. Gil Clancy told De La Hoya, you're going to have to hit him to get his respect, and he's going to have to do that, or else Trinidad's going to walk right in. The jab also of De La Hoya is going south on him. And if Trinidad closes fast and wins these rounds, boy, De La Hoya holding a lot. And Mitch Halpern warning, now talking to both fighters about it. If Trinidad wins these last couple rounds, and it's still possible De La Hoya could win the decision, there will be a hue and a cry, believe me.
Well, that's why, Trinidad should be going for the gusto, I believe, because he knew coming in that Oscar De La Hoya has been the beneficiary of very close decisions here in Las Vegas.
Couple of jabs by De La Hoya, good right hand by De La Hoya. And Trinidad gets in the hook. De La Hoya's never gotten that left hook on track. Trinidad continues to be the aggressor.
Now the question is, did Tito wait too long? This fight is moving in his direction.
He is going after De La Hoya. Oscar better push him back somewhere. Those punches not meaningful by De La Hoya. The hook gets in by Oscar. He's not throwing that punch with a lot of conviction, though. And Tito Trinidad has won himself another round, I believe.
De La Hoya simply trying to stay out of harm's way.
We are in the 12th round. Early in the fight, Trinidad got off pretty well in round 1. Round 2 was close. Oscar had a series of rounds in which he completely outboxed Trinidad. That turned around in round 9. Trinidad has been pursuing De La Hoya through then. I have this fight 6-4 and 1 even right now for De La Hoya, but that is so unofficial.
That right hand of Trinidad driving De La Hoya back. In the corner, De La Hoya, you can tell by the way they're instructing him, they feel he has a decision in the bag. And they just want him to get through the 12th round safely, and they feel they'll go home with the belts.
Again, De La Hoya moving constantly, but not throwing too many punches. He feints there. Big right hand by Trinidad.
Another one. Oscar's in a little difficulty here. Trinidad finally seems to have solved him.
Finally, the right hand has gotten there by Felix Trinidad. It has become a big weapon here. The jab again of De La Hoya. It has not been evident in the last 3 or 4 rounds. Trinidad has closed the distance repeatedly, gotten in right hands, and it has been De La Hoya doing nothing but moving. He is in a prevent defense right now. The crowd doesn't like it. With 1:20 left in this round, Trinidad continues to, oh, nice left hook by De La Hoya.
There was a little bobble there by Trinidad after that shot.
You have to wonder if De La Hoya would have been able to follow up on that. And that was the first really good left hook he's landed in a long time. Good jab by De La Hoya. He's actually, and the hook again by him. So now he's doing something offensively. This round might still be up for grabs.
Trinidad had great success with the right hand early in this round. And that's about the 4th one that he's landed cleanly in this round. But the first one since the opening 45 seconds or so.
De La Hoya stopped being offensive in round 9 for the most part. And except for spurts, he has not been really much in this round either. What was a superb boxing performance by Oscar De La Hoya turned into a defensive performance in the last few rounds, and not one in which he got a lot accomplished. And there are only seconds left to go in this bout.
And I believe Trinidad has swept the last 3 rounds. But what's that going to mean on the judges' scorecards?
And possibly the last 4, who knows? Certainly the last 3. That'll do it. This one is over. You can make a strong case for Oscar De La Hoya, who I think won this bout by 1 or 2 points. He boxed superbly, and should he win this, and you can also probably make a case for Trinidad in a close decision, I guess. Both men feel they won it. There's Felix Trinidad having some trouble getting up on the top strand of the ropes to tell the world he won this fight. And here comes Oscar De La Hoya to state his case.
114 to 114. He has it even. Bob Logis scores the bout. 115 to 114. And Jerry Roth scores the bout. 115 to 113 for the winner by majority decision. De Puerto Rico and the unified heavyweight champion of the world, Felix Trinidad.
Well, the comeback in the last 3 or 4 rounds apparently was enough for Felix Trinidad to get the job done.
seconds. All right, gentlemen. This is the WBC lightweight title. You received your instructions in the dressing room. Again, I want to caution you. Any punches below this point are going to be deemed low. Any punches below this point are going to be deemed low. With that, are there any questions? Any questions, Chief Seconds? All right, remember, obey my commands. Protect yourselves at all times. Catch him up. Collect him up.
Vic Draculich hearing from the Mayweather corner to make sure that the punches are kept up from Castillo. Castillo will go to the body. There will be some borderline punches. That is his style. You're not going to take that away from him because that's what he does. A determined young man to prove to people here in the States that he is a true champion, and he's got his biggest test of his career tonight. Taking on a lot of power, a lot of boxing skills, the entire package. Floyd Mayweather has it. Of course, he comes from a great boxing family. His father, Floyd Sr., trains Oscar De La Hoya up in Big Bear, California. And his Uncle Roger's in his corner. Uncle Roger was a two-time world champion. Floyd comes out, goes right to the jab, works a little bit of a left hook in there. We'll see how Castillo can handle all this speed he's going to have to deal with tonight. Mayweather's in the yellow and white trunks. Castillo's in the colors of Mexico. Good crowd on hand tonight at the MGM Grand, hoping to see a really good classic fight. We'll have to see what happens. Very pro Castillo in here tonight. A lot of people making the trek north of the border to see their champion take on a great American champion in Floyd Mayweather Jr. Like I said many times before, he is moving up in weight class, but he feels like he'll be stronger because he's dominated the super featherweight division for so long. There's nothing left for him to clean out down there. And he's hoping actually to move up even further and someday get a shot at Oscar De La Hoya. He would also like to take on Costa Tszyu, who beat his friend Jab Judah, and he didn't like that much, so he'd like to see, a lot of people like to see Costa Tszyu and Mayweather. Tszyu's such a hard puncher. But right now, the order of the day is Jose Luis Castillo, who unleashed a hook right there that missed a little bit, but he's going to try to release some punches and do some damage and slow down Mayweather by going to the body if he can. The referee is Vic Draculich. Good right hand from Mayweather, who looked awfully determined right there to land a big shot. Round one scheduled for 12 for the WBC Lightweight Championship of the World, currently held by Jose Luis Castillo in the white trunks with the red and green trim. Final seconds of round one will be going inside Castillo's corner, and we will interpret what we hear from his trainer, the legendary Romulo Chiarti Sr. Round two scheduled for 12 from Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. World title on the line. Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the yellow and white trunks against Jose Luis Castillo. Oh, big left hand. They're going to wave it off as a slip, but it looked like a punch to me. We'll have to look at it later. I guess he hopped out of the way and tripped over himself, but he was falling toward me, so I didn't really see how it might have landed or not landed because he was right up in front of me. But it sounded like a big punch. Looked like it. But the referee, Vic Draculas, just ruled it a slip, and they went on about their business. You can see an example. Oh no, we've got a clash of heads here, which is exactly what we didn't want to see. Got a bloody nose there. I don't see any blood coming from there. That hurt though when your noses collide like that. Round 2 scheduled for 12. If there was an accidental headbutt after 4 rounds, they would go to the cards. But you just sense the strength that Mayweather has when he's in the ring. He's so powerful and quick that at any second he could land a big punch, a la Roy Jones. All the great ones have it. Castillo trying to loosen up and get a little busy and try to fight his fight a little bit more, which is going to be with the heavy punches and the body punching. Mayweather holding him off as they go into a clutch right there. Jose Luis Castillo is the former Mexican featherweight champion, unbeaten in 3 defenses with this title of the WBC. Mayweather looking to pick off another belt for his career after cleaning out the super featherweight division and moving up to the lightweight division. About a half a minute to go in round 2. Castillo beginning to loosen up and use a little more footwork, trying to match speed for speed, which he probably won't be able to do in this fight. Mayweather is so patient and looks for his spots. It's almost scary to see how patient he can be in the ring, because he's not intimidated at all by anybody. A little bit of a right hand over the top from Castillo. 10 seconds left, round 2. And now the little infighting here is a little kidney jab from Mayweather. He finds a spot, he sees a spot, he hits it. That's the way he works. See it, hit it. Jose Luis Castillo, the champion, in the white trunks with the red and green trim, the challenger. Floyd Mayweather in the white with the yellow trim. The yellow side is actually half and half his trunks. Now Castillo's going to come out and try to see if he can't force a little bit on him. And if you're tuning in, you're wondering, well, how can Mayweather not be the champion? He's moved up a 1 weight class, but he still holds the super featherweight title, but he's moving up to the lightweight division. Castillo's held this title through 3 defenses now. The title that Castillo took away from Stevie Johnson of Denver in a big upset in California. Castillo beginning to get in the flow of it. The crowd is chanting USA. USA versus Mexico out there. But it is very pro-Castillo crowd out here. Excellent fight fans from Mexico every time one of their champions comes up in Nevada. Nothing much of doing in this round at all, but you get the sense sometimes that Mayweather wants to see things like that. Try to see if he can't land something, but he's not going to stand there and get hit, that's for sure. He's fighting a guy who has to go to the body, who has to use his power if he has any chance in this fight. But when you're up against such quickness and foot speed as Mayweather, not to mention so much power with his balance, he's got tremendous balance. Doing a good job of stalking. He's trying to stay right in front of Mayweather. Good punch. He led with the left and came back with the right. The crowd loved it. Mayweather stepping down and through. Final seconds of the round. Castillo still trying to apply some pressure. Mayweather just steps around it. We're in the 4th round, scheduled for 12. For the WBC Lightweight Championship of the World. Mayweather picks up the pace a little bit here at the start of round 4. Floyd tried to unload a big right over the top there. Didn't miss by much, but he's been anxiously awaiting to be able to land that punch. Castillo tries to come in and hits nothing but air. Floyd's hard to catch sometimes. He wants to get himself positioned. When he wants to deliver, he wants to do it on his own terms. And he can throw with power from different angles. Referee warning about clash of heads. Be careful. Crowd getting a little restless.
When I say stop punching, okay? Keep that head
Warning
up.
from Vic Draculich, and you heard what he said. Flashed uppercut, just missed from Mayweather. Now Castillo's grabbing him. He's trying to slow him down somehow. Castillo had his hand around his waist for a good 4 or 5 seconds there. Because I guess it can get frustrating. Castillo would like nothing better than to turn this into a street fight. A little bit of an uppercut that just missed. The crowd responds, but Mayweather wasn't hurt. Final seconds, round 4. There you have it. We're in the 5th round. Pretty good left hand from Castillo right there. Oh, big quick right hand from Mayweather. Just walked across and delivered it. I don't think Castillo even saw it coming. Yeah, he's turned around. Mayweather from time to time will turn himself around and go left-handed. Now he's back to right-handed, but he'll do that. He'll get in that southpaw stance and then just try to smack you with the straight right hand, which he loves to throw. But now he's back on his right hand side. Little left hook inside it just almost landed on Castillo. So there's that right hand he likes to come in and lead with. Almost a clash of heads there. They avoided it. There's some body work that Castillo wanted to do. Now Floyd's just kind of pushing him back. Nice left hand in there, nice jab. Crowd getting into it now. We're in the 5th round, scheduled for 12. Floyd Mayweather Jr., one of the greatest fighters in the world today, only seems to get better, but he's taking on a guy who feels like he doesn't get any respect, and he wants to earn it tonight, Jose Luis Castillo. Fast right hand. Castillo keeps coming now. Now they're getting into it a little bit. Castillo wants this. That's the end of the round. Castillo might have earned a little confidence in the last seconds of that round. Scheduled for 12. We're coming up on the halfway point in the 6th round. Jose Luis Castillo has a major problem dealing with the speed from Mayweather. He's afraid if he opens himself up, he's going to get caught in something he doesn't even see coming, which has happened to a lot of opponents of Floyd Mayweather. You have to respect the speed. Castillo continues to stalk, and Mayweather continues to use his hat work. Now they're tied up a little bit. Mayweather wondering why the guy doesn't let go of him. Castillo's just glad to find him. Nice right hand for Castillo. Now Mayweather's going to return the favor. A little low there, a little low there. Definitely picked up the pace here in round 6, about a minute to go. Nice right hand over the top from Mayweather. He has not gone back to that left-handed stance that Roger absolutely didn't want him to do over in the corner. A little bit south of the border there. Now Castillo's pushed Floyd down to the mat. Let's see if that gets Floyd Mayweather upset. Castillo's going to force him into that street fight if he has to. Mayweather's a pretty cool customer, though. Vic Draculas going to have his hands full if this keeps going this way. The uglier it gets, the better it is for Castillo, because he wants that. He wants to be throwing punches. Final seconds of round 6. He certainly got Mayweather's attention, that is for sure. A little bit of a wrestling match at one point in this round. And then Floyd sneaks one in right at the end of that round. And they are pumped up over the Castillo corner. We're in round 7, scheduled for 12. World title on the line, which belongs to Jose Luis Castillo in the lightweight division. Castillo's corner wanted him to keep his poise and his confidence high. Got a little bit frustrated in that round and went after Mayweather and had a takedown, to use a wrestling term. Good body punch for Castillo to the right side, the left side rib cage of Mayweather. Now Mayweather goes in and attacks and steps back out. Castillo likes that. Gives him more opportunities to throw punches. Mayweather hitting off his footwork, off his jab coming off his footwork is hard to catch him. Castillo threw a pretty hard punch inside that got the crowd excited. Halfway through round 7, scheduled 12. Now they spin around and do a little dance on the ropes. But Dracula steps in and stops that. Mayweather looking to go downstairs a little bit. Watch the elbows. Watch the elbows. A short chopping right hand over the top. Mayweather lures him into it and then pops him upside the head. Castillo trying to keep his poise. Nice jab from Mayweather. One more warning about the elbows. Mayweather may be in trouble getting a point taken away if he has to warn him again. Pretty nice little jab from Castillo. Mayweather hits and moves. Throwing that jab out there, then moving out of harm's way. Now he sets himself down in sort of a haunch and gets ready to throw punches and steps out when Castillo takes the bait. A little bit of a short left hand inside. Castillo throwing punches down the bottom. Good right hand for Castillo. Mayweather standing there looking at him, saying, what's going on here? Final seconds. Mayweather just smiles at Castillo. He does whatever he wants to do, and sometimes it doesn't look exactly orthodox or what you think he should do, but Mayweather's got his own style because he's so talented and so quick. He can make up for a lot of mistakes he might make. And watch him throw that lunging jab as he goes in. It's a very effective punch for him. Now, you get the sense Castillo wants to get busy. We'll see if he can. Castillo has 50 professional fights, 41 knockouts. Mayweather is 27-0 with 20 knockouts. So it's a high percentage knockout for both of these fighters. Because Castillo spent most of his work down in Mexico, learning his trade. He was the former Mexican featherweight champion. He likes to keep a fast pace. He keeps trying to keep the pressure on. It's hard to hit something that moves away so quickly. Round 8. Nice flicking jab from Mayweather. And we heard Castillo's corner wanted him to go downstairs, but I haven't seen him try to throw any body punches yet. I think he'd like to land any punch. Certainly haven't followed up the final seconds of the last round into this round. But they might have a flurry toward the end. That's what's been the tendency in this fight. Castillo leaning in, trying to work the body. Mayweather jumps out, throws that right hand out there. That's what the one that Castillo saw and tripped over his own feet when it was coming at one time. Desperation punch you just saw from Castillo that missed by about 2 or 3 feet. Now Mayweather starts to pepper him a little bit with some short jabs. seconds, round 8. Now Mayweather holds his arms down, holds Castillo's arms down.
1 point. 1 point. 1 point. 1 point. When I say break, you don't tell the last point. Let's go. What?
Well, there you go. Vic Dracula just took a point away from Jose Luis Castillo for hitting on the break. Round number 9 scheduled for 12. Now Castillo throws some punches and Mayweather's holding his arm down. Castillo just wants to go. Good hard left hand from Mayweather. Another one. Now it's kind of turned into a little bit of a street fight, little wrestling match. Dracula has got his hands full, as we said earlier. Now they touch gloves. Maybe they'll make nice for a little while. But you never know. Every time Castillo tries to get a little more busy, Mayweather responds, being the champion that is, by getting even more busy. And just when Castillo thinks he can get in there and throw some punches, he keeps getting tied up and facing that little jab. Castillo's trying to get across there and throw the big punches. Roger Mayweather didn't have much to say to his fighter between those rounds. Roger knows what he's talking about, two-time world champion. He just said, "You're doing fine." Castillo hasn't got much done in this round, that's for sure. And Mayweather's content to not do anything. Crowd is now jeering. Mostly the Castillo camp, not happy with not seeing their guy be able to get in there and land some effective punches. Hard rib punch from Mayweather. He's done that a couple of times on this night. And you'd expect to see that from Castillo trying to hit Mayweather, but Mayweather's very elusive target, to say the least. That's not where he wants to be. Now back out the center of the ring. Castillo's got 20 seconds to make something happen in round 9. Uppercut that missed. It would have been pretty effective. Now they punched after the bell. Vic Dracula may make a decision to take a point away from Mayweather. Like I said, this trainer, Ramon Chianti Sr., is a legend down in Mexico. He trains his fighters out of Tijuana. One of the best there is. He's brought this guy along from obscurity to a world championship. Mayweather, that chopping overhand right. Oh, there's a good combination from Mayweather. There's the left. He follows up the left with the right. It's very effective. Castillo felt those punches. We're in the 10th round, scheduled for 12, the WBC Lightweight Championship of the World, held by the man in the white trunks with the green and red trim, Jose Luis Castillo. The man who's trying to take it away from him is in the yellow and white trunks, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Now he turns over and winks at the camera. Floyd just winked at the broadcasters over here to let him know that he's fine. He'll do that from time to time. Castillo not able to find anything but air. Floyd's content to stand there and counter him. There's a good left-hand jab right to the nose of Castillo, who might be getting a little more frustrated. His corner was trying not to have him frustrated. He's in the 10th round. Good right hand from Mayweather. Mayweather might want to take care of business. We'll see. Now the punching in the back. Castillo showing a little frustration there. I haven't seen that in a while. He was punching all around his body, just trying to find something to hit. When you've been out there for 10 rounds and you can't find anything to hit, you'll take what you can get.
I'm going to tell you last time for pushing off. Last time.
Last warning for pushing off from Dracula. She's been telling Mayweather all night about that. So Castillo trying to unload over there while he's got Floyd on the ropes. Now Floyd's going to hold him. And as they break, he sneaks in a little punch. Dracula.
Neutral corner. Neutral corner. One corner. One corner. One corner. Watch that elbow. Let's go.
Dracula, I told you he'd have a busy night. Just took a point away from Mayweather, so they're even in that department. There'll be no more complaints about that. But Dracula has been talking to Mayweather about his elbow the entire night. 11th round. Roger Mayweather, go there with the balance. Floyd jumped right on him. Castillo looked like he was in a daze for a second. There's some punches downstairs. Dracula's keeping an eye on things. Roger Mayweather told his nephew to sit down, punch, and move on. That's pretty simple what that means. That's below the belt. Wanted to keep him up a little bit. That was just below the Grant sign on Mayweather's belt. There's that right hand Mayweather likes to throw over the top when he gets a chance to do it. But you would have to say that neither fighter's really been hurt tonight to any extent. Castillo's trying to throw down there on the belt line. Downstairs, once again, Castillo awfully close to throwing low blows, and Floyd standing there and taking it right now. He's already had 1 point taken away for an elbow. Dracula didn't want Mayweather leaning on him so much. Halfway through round 11. 12-round championship fight from the MGM Grand. Crowd is chanting, Castillo, Castillo. And somebody will counter with USA in a minute. So nice little right hand from Mayweather inside. Kind of where Castillo wants him. Look at the speed from Mayweather. Mayweather, for some reason, this round has decided to stand right in front of Castillo. That's not what his uncle told him to do, but Floyd is so talented he can pretty much do whatever he wants to do. Castillo's a determined fighter, but he doesn't have the speed to match up. Castillo's worked hard to get that championship, get those big paydays, but you don't have the God-given speed and the balance and the ability that Mayweather does. What are you going to do about it? Not much. Now they're throwing a little bit. Castillo's really been throwing downstairs in this round. Throwing a lot of body punches. Trying the uppercuts. Under 20 seconds left. Round 11. Still trying to grind out something, trying to land a big punch. Still throwing down there. He's finally figured out he might have to throw around his stomach. Romulo was telling Jose Luis Castillo to do it for his sister. Mercedes Castillo died at age 15 last December of leukemia, 3 days before Christmas. And Romulo wants his fighter to dig down and do it for his sister. Little Mercedes was only 15 years old. I'm sure if Big Brother could do it, he'll do it right now. It's awfully tough. It's in against one of the best fighters in the world talent-wise, and people can see that from watching the way he can move and jab. That was a good left hand from Floyd. We're in the 12th and final round for the lightweight championship of the world. Castillo's corner's done a good job tonight of trying to keep him from getting discouraged because he hasn't been able to go out there and do what he really wanted to do. But that's the price you pay when you're fighting a fighter of Mayweather's caliber. There's not a thing he doesn't have as a prize fighter. There's a little low punch down on the hip for Castillo. Very quick left hand from Mayweather as he throws and steps back. Halfway through the final round now. Castillo still trying to find the mark. Good right hand from Castillo. Best one he's thrown. Mayweather unfazed by it. Mayweather counters and punches his way out of it. One minute left in the final round coming up on. Be interested to see what the judges were looking for in this fight. I try not to speculate. The last couple of rounds, Castillo was able to throw some of those body punches. Final round. They're in the center of the ring. Final 30 seconds. Castillo knows he's got to go. He's trying just to let it go now. He's just trying to let his hands go. Mayweather complaining in the past about his hands. He's had some bad hands. Pretty solid punch for Castillo right there. Under 10 seconds left. Both fighters look a little spent at this point. 5 seconds left. Castillo is still trying to land a punch. And that's that. They're still fighting after the bell. Both fighters up on the ropes or up in the air with their hands in the air.
Las Vegas, we go to the Budweiser scorecards. John Kane and Jerry Roth both have it 115 to 111. Anik Hongtongkam scores it 116 to 111 for the winner by unanimous decision and new lightweight champion of the world, the undefeated pretty boy, Floyd Mayweather.
Well, there's more hardware for Floyd Mayweather.
All right, while the fighters meet in the middle of the ring, let's go ahead and look at the tail of the tape and get the numbers on these two guys. Tiberi a couple of years older. This is a struggle for James Toney to make the 160-pound weight limit. Other than that, they're remarkably similar. The IBF rules are in effect. Scoring's on the 10-point must. The 3 knockdown and the standing 8 count are not in effect. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round, and only the referee can stop the fight. And that referee is this gentleman here, Robert Palmer from New Jersey, who's working his first title fight. And we're underway in the first round here on our Fruit of the Loom professional boxing series. But a good left digging into the ribs here by James Toney.
And a nice jab there by Dave Tiberi, too. He said at the top, he's a game kid. He's determined. He just looks to be outgunned. When you stand toe-to-toe like this, and it's you hit me and I'll hit you, you just have to be the man with the superior artillery. And on the basis of their records, Dave Tiberi is just way, way outgunned.
Yeah.
But right now, he's backing Toney up.
And there's another good right hand by Tiberi.
James Toney is a patient fighter. He's generally a slow starter. He likes to take his time. In fact, good left there by Tiberi. When James won the title from Michael Nunn with an 11th-round knockout. Good right that
big right hand by Tony.
James is behind on all cards.
And right now, Alex Tiberi appears to be a little bit rattled. His gloves are creeping down as Tony got in there with a good combination.
But you see James, he doesn't go crazy when he senses his man's hurt a little bit. As we said, takes his time right now, just content to cover.
Certainly a different start for James Toney than he led us to believe that he was going to have yesterday. Spewing forth some real venom about Dave Tiberi and his camp and comments they had to say about him.
Anytime you see, I'm sorry, Dan, anytime you see two fighters with their heads as close together as these two, you think about cuts, and Dave Tiberi, and there the two heads met. Dave Tiberi has a history of cutting, especially over his left eye.
It was over the left eye that a nearly 4-inch gash was opened up in his fight with Tony Thornton. And I don't think that up against the ropes is where Dave Tiberi wants to be against James Toney, who's now starting a little target practice with the right hand. There was a good right coming back from Tiberi, but didn't seem to faze Toney. There's Dave's mother, who's at ringside, along with a rather large contingent from Delaware. Supposedly 500 people here.
Right, just a family showed up. I mean, 14 kids, 7 brothers were fighters. Right now, I think Dave feels like he's fighting all 7 of them.
Yes. We're inside the final 30 seconds of the first round here. This title bout scheduled for 12.
But you see, James Toney does not sustain the pressure, and I think the reason for this is, in some of his early fights, he ran out of gas badly, won the fights, but was desperate in terms of running, and I think he paces himself. Fights in flurries like you see here.
Oh, and Tiberi is staggered here at the end of the first. And here we are now live in the second round, opening seconds. Again, Dave Tiberi willing to settle in close quarters with James Toney.
You have to admire his heart, you have to admire his chin, you have to admire his toughness, but this kind of strategy is just suicidal.
Well, in between rounds, we could hear Tiberi's corner saying to him, this guy can't stand in there with you. I know you got to preach self-confidence to your fighter, but that's going a little overboard.
And you talked, Dan, in the first round about the 500 tickets that Dave Tiberi sold to his fans. Sounds great for the promoter, but it's not so good for Dave, because when they start cheering and he gets juiced up, he does exactly what he shouldn't do, and that's try to trade with Toney.
Right now, Tiberi ought to settle in for the duration and try to score some points.
Score some points from distance. From distance. Use that jab, but move a little bit. Try to confuse Toney a little bit. Don't just stand there and let him tee you off.
It is well known that James Toney is managed by a woman. Her name is Jackie Callan, and there she is at ringside, and it's a wonderful story between these two. And Jackie Callan here is not just another pretty face. She is one of the best managers in boxing.
Yeah, woman schwoman. This should be the fight of the year for the job she did for James in 1991.
She is really a well-respected boxing manager.
James, I'm sorry, Dave Tiberi doing some scoring there as Toney takes time off in the ropes. And we must remind you that those punches, they are scoring punches. But as we pointed out at the top of the show, Dave Tiberi just has no power at all in that punch.
We'd like to remind our local ABC stations that at the end of this round, we'll be taking a station break. Again, the strategy of Tiberi here working inside, and that time he backs James Toney out of the confrontation. It was that time Tiberi making Toney give ground. But still, you wonder about that strategy over the long haul.
David will have his moments because of what we said about the fact that Toney likes to fight in spurts. Backing off as Toney is doing here, just laying on the ropes and not doing much. The problem is, how much punishment does Dave take in those spurts?
A nice move by Toney, spinning off the ropes. And now he loads up on Dave Tiberi.
Yeah, but he just missed 4 straight, Dan. Dave did a good job defensively there.
Coming to the end of the third round, we'll return with more Fruit of the Loom professional boxing after a word from our ABC station. It was Dave Tiberi who was up off his stool with 15 seconds left in that break between rounds, and a very sloop-shouldered James Toney stayed on his stool as long as he could, Alex.
He's right here in round 4, and he has to get a second win. He didn't get to this point, James Toney, without having a lot of guts, a lot of resiliency, a lot of comeback ability, as he showed against Michael Leonard winning the title.
Oh, good
there
right
you see
hand.
some of it right there.
Yeah, a good right hand by James Toney.
But he has not prepared for this fight, obviously. For him to be that dead tired at that point,
After
he
9
is not
minutes of
prepared
boxing.
for this fight the way he did for the big fights. And Dave Tiberi, to give you an idea, and I'm not saying he's won the last 2 rounds on my scorecard, but this fight, you could not put a bet on this fight. I mean, they talk about Buster Douglas Tyson being 42-1. There was no line on this fight. It was off the board.
And you can get a line on 2 birds sitting on a telephone line as to which one will fly away first. When you can't get a line on a fight, it's lopsided.
And it's a phone booth fight right now. I mean, there's no movement. It's just 2 guys standing together. And right now, the heart and the conditioning, I mean, this is just a conditioning war. And Tiberi is clearly at this point, despite his lack of power, in better condition to deliver more punches.
And Alex, I don't care what anybody says about being the underdog. There is always a shadow of doubt in your mind as to whether or not you can win. Right now, I think all that doubt has been removed from Dave Tiberi's mind.
Yeah,
he thinks he can win this fight.
And interestingly, James Toney is not desperate yet. He's gathering himself. He's given up rounds. There's no question about that. But he's counting on Tiberi punching himself out.
Mark Condrith, who's the manager of Dave Tiberi, and right now his stomach's rolling over, but he can't be unhappy.
Mark Condrith's stomach was rolling over the day he found out that Tiberi got this fight. He's been nervous as a cat. But right now he's got,
Right now he's got to be saying,
right now.
he's got to be saying to himself, oh, dare I think it.
Good right hand by Toney.
Oh, there was a good short clipping left hook by Toney. And this is the only serious punching by James Toney that we've seen here in the 4th round.
And
it looks like that might be all we see.
He can't sustain it. And he's taking punches. I started to say hard punches, and I can't contradict myself, but he's taken enough to keep him occupied and just test him all the way down to the soles of his shoes.
Well, I'm not sure what James Toney was expecting out of this fight, but I'll guarantee you this wasn't it. Here we go in the 4th round, and James Toney doesn't even get out of his corner. The 5th round, rather. I'm sorry, I said the 4th, without Dave Tiberi smothering him in his corner. And Alex, we were listening between rounds, and James Toney was trying to respond to his trainer, Bill Miller, and he could hardly talk. He's breathing so heavily.
Absolutely exhausted. But, remember the Reggie Johnson fight, the first fight he had after knocking out Michael Nunn?
Right.
He was knocked down early in the fight. He was way behind on points, but he held himself together despite the fact that he fell way behind and pulled out the fight in the final round.
That fight was last June 29th. But James Toney didn't look this tired, this exhausted then.
No, but you would have thought he would have learned a lesson, and that is, to do everything you can to prepare for even a lesser opponent.
Don't
Clearly he
forget,
did not.
at the conclusion of this fight, we'll have an update on the Mike Tyson trial. Marianne Grabavoy is in Indianapolis, and we'll go to her for a report at the conclusion of this fight.
Mike Tyson finished his testimony today under cross-examination. Again, all Tiberi.
At the halfway mark of the 5th round, James Toney's IBF middleweight title at this point in time is in real jeopardy. He may rebound, but right now he's in trouble.
Look at the referee watching the action here. That's a referee, Robert Palmer, in his first title fight. And you always wonder how he'll handle a championship fight in terms of letting a title fight go.
Oh, a good right-hand counter by Tony, but most of the scoring here in the fifth has been done by Dave Tiberi.
And the beautiful thing that Dave has done is when James Toney has fought in his flurry, as soon as he finishes, Tiberi knows that he's out of gas, and he's jumped right at him.
Great
not
point.
let him catch his breath, and not let him take time off.
Very good point, Alex. Alex Swallow and Dan Yerdorf here ringside in Atlantic City. We're here for the Fruit of the Loom Professional Boxing Series. This is our first of 3 consecutive Saturdays. And what a performance we're seeing by Dave Tiberi here, trying to wrest the title away from James Toney. Toney in the black trunks, Tiberi in the white. Another good round here as we come to the end of the fifth for Dave Tiberi.
And Dan, amazingly enough, in the Tiberi corner, just when James Toney desperately needed a rest, there's a problem with the glove of Dave Tiberi, and over in his corner, James Toney is sitting down, getting a much-needed rest while they fix the tape job.
And you can see they're not just fixing the tape job, Alex, they're taking it all the way off.
Let's take over this fight.
They're taking the glove off. Shades of Angelo Dundee in reverse.
Wow.
Oh, man, oh, man.
And this pro-Tiberi crowd is wise to pick up on it. Let's go back to Tony's corner. Listen to Bill Miller, his trainer.
Follow my instructions. Listen to me. I want to see some jabs out here this time. Give this guy some movement. He's coming straight to you. You've hit him on the chin with the big shots. Give him some angles now. Give him a new look.
Tell us what's no blows.
Hey, we talk.
You got it in good?
Yeah,
Feel good?
As Alex Swallow mentioned, a most
Let's keep
opportune
the
rest
pressure on.
for James
don't get
Toney.
careless.
Alex, what could have happened to make them take the entire glove off?
Well, they must have split, that's all. They're 10-ounce Reyes gloves, and it just must have split. We're getting the glove brought over to us by Bob Yale, breaking the world land speed record.
The bottom
the seam
split.
on the bottom, exactly right, Dan. The bottom seam opened up, and that's a dangerous condition. And the referee really had no choice but let me, Dan, show it to him. The referee really has no choice in that case but to stop it.
Yeah, you can
and
see
change the glove.
because it forms a sharp edge right here. And you're right, they have no choice. But man, for James Toney, what a break that this glove opens up right here.
We behind in this fight. We ain't gonna lose.
Look
no
at
fight to
James.
nobody
Now his
like
breathing is back to
Hands
normal.
up, he's going to come out with a barrage.
Again, we are waiting to
And they're
start.
changing both gloves.
Look at
Let
that.
me have that.
We are
Yeah,
waiting to
tape
start
this
the
glove, huh?
6th round.
Is that ready, Mario?
Do we have any idea in the truck how long this delay has been?
James Toney, he has recovered to a degree, but he is still doesn't appear to be in shape. Now, I don't know if it was training or if he's got some sort of a respiratory ailment or something that's curtailing him here.
Or he's dead at the weight.
Or if he's dead at the weight, because he did have to work hard to make the weight.
Oh.
And that delay was a little over 4 minutes, so quite a break for James Toney.
Now, James Toney didn't get in shape in those 4 minutes.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? He got a rest, but he didn't get in shape. And if Dave Tiberi can continue the pressure, he can take away, what the benefits of that break. The problem is he's got to fight. He's got to avoid the power of Toney while he's fresh, which is right now.
Toney continues to work that right uppercut, and it more often than not gets between the gloves of Tiberi.
We should report also, Dan, that left eye that we talked about, we forgot about it, and all the not the controversy, but the glove removal. Tiberi's left eye was nicked in the last round, worked on by the legendary Eddie the Clot Iliano in Tiberi's corner, but it's puffy and it's slightly cut. And I'm just amazed it hasn't blown up already, to be honest, with the right hands that Tony has landed and the closeness of their heads.
Well, more than the glove, you brought up the point earlier that it's the unintentional butting that takes place. That's the easiest way to open up an eyebrow.
And halfway through round 6, Tony, when he was fresh, did not do a lot of damage. And unless he does some soon, he's going to go back to being that groggy, kind of sleepwalking James Toney of the first 5 rounds. Except for that moment where he hurt Tiberi at the end of the first.
The crowd, and now Robert Palmer steps in and separates the fighters and warns Tiberi about hitting low.
And here's it from the Tiberi fans.
Yeah, much to the chagrin of the crowd, but don't go by crowd noise here. I'm not sure they're an accurate barometer. Again, Tony leaning back on the ropes, but he's doing that by choice.
Yeah, but he's doing no scoring. Tiberi's just walking forward, and Tony, who's a strong young kid, just can't stop him.
And Tony is not a fighter who scores moving backwards. I mean, that's not his game, Alex.
He's got one nice little move with the right hand, Dan, where he can roll back and then brace himself and let the right hand counter go. But all that skill, that punch, that little move that he used so many times against Mike McCallum, none of that skill is present here against a much lesser opponent.
Here we come to the end of round 6. In between rounds, Robert Palmer, the referee, detracted and subtracted a point from Dave Tiberi for low blow in that last round. So in your scoring, deduct a point from Tiberi.
And we should point something out. If you might have heard when we were isolated on James in his corner, he said to Bill Miller, tell the referee to watch the low blows just before the start of the last round. Bill Miller, his trainer, did that, and it paid a dividend.
You see lots of warnings about low blows. You don't see many actual point deductions. And Robert Palmer, again, a reminder, working his first title fight, penalizes Dave Tiberi. Action in the 7th round here in Atlantic City.
I just never saw a low punch in that exchange that caused the deduction.
No, I have to agree, Alex. Neither did I. James Toney wearing the Star of David on his trunks. That's a tribute to his manager, Jackie Callan. Dave Tiberi wearing a cross on his shorts. Of course, he's a Sunday school teacher and a deeply religious man himself. So both in their own way, expressing some belief. 1 minute, 20 seconds left here in the 7th round. There hasn't really been a meaningful blow struck in this round.
And for the first time since the first round, Dave Tiberi was, for a moment at least, back on the ropes. And there he is. Again, he happens to be comfortable fighting off the ropes. He likes it. He thinks it gives him leverage. But it's the first little sign that of Tony being able to, turn it around a little bit right there.
There was a good combination.
Tony pushing him back on the ropes.
Yeah. And you see some blood now on Dave Tiberi. That's around his nose. Tough to determine from right here where it's emanating from, but there's definitely blood on the nose of Tiberi.
If we haven't paid enough tribute to the guts and determination, whatever the outcome of this fight, of Dave Tiberi in the white trunks with his back to you, let me just take this opportunity to do it again. He is just a non-stop punching machine. Maybe 5 of those pity-pat punches of his equal a good solid punch. He's thrown it from all angles, and he just has not stopped throwing them in the fight.
We're scheduled for a dozen. This is the end of the 7th. Opening seconds of the 8th round. There's Dave Tiberi on the left, James Toney on the right. Tiberi from Wilmington, Delaware. Now lives in Pike Creek, Delaware. James Toney, originally from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and now resides there, but spends most of his time in Detroit training. James Toney is the IBF middleweight champion, and that title very much in jeopardy from the pressure of Dave Tiberi here through the first 7. We're now in the 8th.
And we got a report that, you know, Dave Tiberi is, let me just total it up here. I got him, I believe, with the 1-point deduction, 4 points ahead. In the fight, right now, I'm not so sure. It looks like it's going the distance.
The crowd reacting to James Toney being back on the ropes. I mean, he's certainly not making a great effort to get off the ropes, but he was there that time by choice.
Sometimes a young fighter just thinks that when he's got power, he can totally rely on that one-punch power to bail him out of anything. And James Toney has certainly gambled his title and his reputation and a lot of his future, his immediate future, on that bet. And right now, he's losing that bet badly.
We'd like to remind our local ABC stations that at the end of this round, we'll be taking a station break. The punches from Jan, that's a good indication, Alex. When he swung that left,
and he
just the effort to swing the punch took him off balance.
For a moment, James Toney switched to southpaw. That's not a concession. I don't know what is. That's an act of desperation.
James Toney.
I shouldn't say concession.
I understand.
He ain't conceding the fight.
No, but his body looks like it is. We know his mind isn't, but right now it appears that James Toney's body is betraying him. For whatever reason.
For one reason, he didn't prepare himself. Well, I'm sure you're right, Dan. You said earlier he could have some physical ailment that we're not aware of, and I shouldn't prejudge.
I mean, we've seen him before, and he's never looked like this. I mean, the physical stamina and conditioning that he displayed in that Mike McCallum fight, I thought was awesome.
But give Tiberi credit. He is creating a pace here that just is not allowing Toney the time to rest that he's had in other fights. And the fans continue to chant, TNT Tiberi.
Here we come to the end of the 8th round. We'll return with more Fruit of the Loom professional boxing after a word from our ABC station.
Oh!
Did you get him punching Palmer? He hit Palmer.
Tired on me, are you?
Both fighters continue to trade punches after the bell, and Palmer stepped in there and paid for it. Here we go in round number 9. Whatever blood was coming from Dave Tiberi was cleaned up during the round, and it really doesn't seem to be a major concern right now unless it starts to come out a great deal more. Again, a reminder that after this fight, we'll go to Indianapolis for an update on the Mike Tyson trial. And right now, James Toney has a trial of his own underway.
We are getting, on our scorecard, into the territory where James Toney needs a knockout to win, even with the 1-point deduction, which I think was not warranted by Robert Palmer. There was a blow, I believe, on the ropes. There was a warning previous to that round, but I just think there have been a lot of low blows, borderline punches by both men, and I thought that that was a referee in his first title fight with a little bit too fast a trigger.
We're at the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. It's snowing outside, but boy, it is hot stuff in the ring here. And you see that pathetic right hand by Toney, and now Tiberi comes back, but Alex, he almost fell down throwing it.
I don't know if James Toney at this stage has enough to hurt as game and as tough and as a fighter with as good a chin as Dave Tiberi.
Oh, and a good scoring flurry by Tiberi. 3 scoring punches back to back.
If you ever saw quantity over quality, this is it. James Toney's taken a ton of punches to the head. He is unmarked.
Well,
But meanwhile, he just has not been able to get anything of himself off, his own punches off, in the face of this buzzsaw.
well, we know that Tiberi is not a knockout artist. He's had 27 professional fights and only 7 knockouts. So he's not a hired assassin in that respect. But you hear the crowd chanting TNT. That's for their man Dave Tiberi, who's in command here as we come to the end of the ninth. One can only assume that a crowd can spur a guy on, or at least the fighter can hear the crowd. This one is directly behind Dave Tiberi. He has 3 rounds to go, the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th, and it has been a sterling effort on his part to this point. And look at Tiberi doing things you wouldn't think he'd be able to do, pushing James Toney away when he wants. And Alex, you raised the point all the way back in the 3rd or 4th round, I believe, that at this stage of the fight, even if James Toney connects with a clean punch, you wonder if he's going to have the power behind it to take Dave Tiberi out, even if he would connect with a clean one.
Let me just try to give you a sense of how big an upset this would be. The man in the black trunks on the left of your screen was the fighter of the year last year. He knocked out Michael Nunn, a seemingly invincible champion. He got a draw, but everybody thought an unlucky draw against Mike McCallum, the other great power in the middleweight division. The man with his back to you has never beaten a named fighter, anything close to a named fighter. The closest he came was Tony Thornton, and he lost that fight on a 4th round TKO because his eye busted up terribly, a 4-inch gash. He's retired from the ring a couple of times and come back. He struggled with club fight opposition, and here he is in the ring with a man that I think a lot of other people saw to be on the verge of greatness, and he's just beating him, and beating him decisively.
James Toney not fighting with a great deal of urgency. Tiberi continues to stay in close. Oh, there was a good right counter by Toney.
You know, Dan, boxing's legend says that to take a man's title, you have to beat him badly. Toney's had his moments, especially the 1st round, but aside from that, in only a couple of close rounds, you just can't imagine that Dave Tiberi hasn't won the rest of them decisively enough to get the judges. And don't forget also, he has 500 or so of his fans here in Atlantic City with him. So the judges are hearing from it every time Tiberi does well.
We're coming to the end of the 10th round. 2 to go. Robert Palmer signals the fighters to get started here in the 11th. And Mark Condrith, the manager of Dave Tiberi, between rounds said, Dave, 2 more rounds and you're world champion.
And James Toney sat in his stool and told his corner that he feels good. Came out and landed 1 good punch. He does not look good.
And neither did the looks on the faces of Bill Miller, his trainer, and Jackie Callan, his manager.
Dave Tiberi's trunks in front are stained with blood. It's his blood, coming from a little nick perhaps over his eye, but probably from his nose. We said early in this fight that James Toney paces himself. He's patient because in some of his early fights he ran out of gas, and He just likes to be able to take time off and to set the pace. In this fight, with the exception of the closing seconds of round 1, Dave Tiberi has forced the pace. Every time Tony wanted to rest, Tiberi would not let him. And he just sucked the air out of him. He just exhausted him just by the sheer force of his determination.
And right now, Tiberi is getting out in that power range, Alex. I know you're a big believer that there's that real sweet spot out there where a guy's maximum power is. Tiberi's been effective by staying inside of Tony's range. And a couple times here, he's kind of drifted out a little bit. That's dangerous.
I've been wrong about as many ways as you could be about this fight. I thought that Tiberi had no chance in this kind of a fight because of Tony's edge and power. I thought it was suicidal to stay in tight instead of moving and trying to take some of Tony's power away by not letting him set. And Dave Tiberi has proved that just by being prepared to throw an incredible number of punches and having an incredible chin and ability to stand up, that you can beat a fighter as highly regarded as James Toney, or you can get way ahead in the closing seconds of the 11th round.
Again, a reminder to our audience, we don't have a scorecard over here. There's Mario Tiberi, Dave Tiberi's brother, his trainer,
a fighter himself,
and right now soulmate. You could tell by the look on his face.
It was the 11th round when James Toney came up with the miracle punch that he needed to knock out Michael Nunn.
The 11th round is just about gone.
It is an 11th round in which he will not find that miracle against Dave Tiberi.
We'll be back for the 12th and final round in a moment. And there comes and there's James Toney. A real act of desperation by a man who, by our account here ringside, is 3 minutes away from having his IBF middleweight title taken away by the man on the left, Dave Tiberi.
Dan, we should say, and you know, this is something you always say in any fight, is that our scorecards, I've got him ahead by 3 points with the 1 point deduction. I'm sorry, 4 points with the 1 point deduction. That does not mean that the people at ringside see it the same way. I thought Tony beat McCallum by 4 points, and he got a draw. Strange things have happened in Atlantic City, and you know, all over the world in boxing. But do not, even if Tiberi lasts this round, and even if Tiberi wins this round, our scorecards mean nothing.
No, you're right. And again, we must put in perspective, if Tiberi should upset Tony, the magnitude of that upset. You could not even place a bet on this fight. That's how big an underdog Dave Tiberi was to the champion James Toney. Now, one thing to keep in mind, Tiberi's already been penalized 1 point for a low blow. And he's thrown a couple borderline punches here that looked low here in the 12th. Tiberi is not in a position to make a mistake like that and have it come back to haunt him. Inside a minute and a half here in the 12th.
James Toney has been the victim a couple of times of the officials here in Atlantic City. Timeout there. Again, a glove problem, just a little tape this time.
And there's Robert Palmer, the referee, stepping in.
We should say that in the Murky Sosa fight, which James appeared to win decisively, James gets another rest here. And boy, you should look at James. He can barely get over to his corner.
James Toney, he dragged his right leg going over there. James Toney is limping. He's either having a cramp or some pulled muscle, a problem with his right leg. He actually dragged his right leg to the neutral corner. And you can see the way that he's working off his instep rather than up on the ball of his right foot.
We started to say, Dan, that James Toney's had some strange decisions in Atlantic City. He looked to be a clear winner over Murky Sosa, only got a split decision. Looked to be a clear winner over Mike McCallum, got a draw. His manager, Jackie Callan, sent a letter to the commission protesting. And it'd be interesting to see if that has any effect on the judges here.
James Toney right now is hurt. He cannot move, and he's going to have to remain stationary. 30 seconds here left in the 12th round. The crowd, the Dave Tiberi crowd here, coming from nearby Delaware, is on their feet. Approaching 15 seconds. Dave Tiberi in the white trunks appears to have wrested away the championship from James Toney. It'll go to a decision here in Atlantic City.
I said at the top that he didn't have a chance because of the power. Unbelievable.
Well, we just saw an exciting 12 rounds here in Atlantic City. Here's ring announcer Michael Buffer.
Frank Brunette scores the bout 117 to 111 for Dave Tiberi. Bill Lurch scores the bout 115 to 112 for James Toney. Frank Garcia scores the bout 115 to 111 for the winner by split decision and still IBF middleweight champion of the world, James "Lights Out" Toney.
We'll be back here in Atlantic City. Alex is in the ring and we'll have interviews with an incredible decision.
Okay, gentlemen, you had your instructions in the dressing room. And I'll remind you of now, this is very important. When I tell you stop, what that means is stop whatever you're doing, give me a clean break. Protect yourself at all times, obey my commands all the time. Both of you gentlemen are world-class, championship caliber professionals. I expect you to act that way. Mr. Pacquiao, Mr. Bradley, let's do this.
Yes, indeed. Robert Byrd, referee. Let's do this. Round one. Manny Pacquiao in his 60th professional fight, unbeaten since 2005. And it's funny, Mario, he is still the smaller man in the ring. And yet we've seen with De La Hoya, Margarito, Cotto, we're so used to seeing him look physically unimposing that in this looks like a fair fight. And we're underway.
He's still, to me, looks significantly smaller. He has put together Bradley. And if this was a bodybuilding competition, then it's one thing. But man, he lives extra lean and very strict on his diet.
He has always worked hard his entire life. Look, genetically, he's gifted as we're out to a fast pace. Pacquiao lunging forward. Already doubling up on the jab is Bradley. This is a quick pace right out of the gate.
It is. Maybe he feels he needs to warm up a little bit. I mean, I was really concerned about, and I see a Band-Aid under Pacquiao's right elbow. I don't know what that's about. But if you notice, there's a Band-Aid there.
You know, I saw that at the weigh-in, too. Straight right hand lands from Bradley. I noticed that at the weigh-in. I figured that'd just be gone as he got back into the ring. Already, we've seen a quick pace here, and Bradley having some effectiveness. Oh, good shot. Pacquiao had a shot on the way in. He is going to have to earn his way in against Bradley. We can see that already.
And already I can see that Timothy Bradley's not being the aggressor. He is choosing to be a little bit more of the counterpuncher, allowing Pacquiao to be more of the aggressor.
I tell you what, though, you can tell he has done his homework. He is throwing out a double jab every time he wants to get near it.
And he's looking for that counter right hand, which obviously works very well against southpaws.
Crowd is into it already. In the opening minute and a half of round number one, as we see crisp action from the get-go. No feeling out here. They're feeling out at high speeds.
And if you're looking for one of these fighters to wear out, they're both Energizer bunnies. These guys are not going to slow down anytime soon.
Historically great in that regard. Correct. You're absolutely right, Mario.
You know, I'm really surprised at how composed Bradley looks, how he's changed his style to become more of a counterpuncher.
Pacquiao tries straight up the middle. Those punches blocked. You're right. He is definitely composed. Bradley is composed in the pocket already, shooting out jabs, balanced, and looking for the attack points.
Because you know Bradley, based on his history, is a fighter that likes to put pressure, is a fighter who's relentless, who swarms.
Good body shots, and those are scoring blows, by the way, for Bradley. Another shot down low. I say low, I don't mean illegally low, down to the body.
Bradley doing a great job this first round.
Said before the fight, Pacquiao is a superstar. Bradley's just a world champion boxer. But nothing else matters. All that other nonsense goes out the window when everyone clears out of the ring. Good counter right by Bradley. He is really making his mark in the first round, establishing himself with authority.
And let's keep in mind, Pacquiao, much like Randall Bailey in the fight prior, has that one punch equalizer that can change the fight.
There it is. He just threw it, the left hand. That is One of the best weapons in the sport. The straight left hand from Pacquiao. Now he goes to work.
Pacquiao measuring him and getting the time in a little bit more, and now he's starting to warm up, Brian.
Firing again, but that one was slipped by Bradley. Outstanding first round.
Freddie Roach not saying much. Joel Diaz intense, asking him to step back and strictly asking him to counter every time Pacquiao goes aggressive. Take back and counterpunch and let go of that right hand. He'll walk into something.
Round number 2 here, the main event. Manny Pacquiao, Timothy Bradley, and Timothy Bradley, the junior welterweight champion of the world, extremely impressive in the first round because this is a super fight. This is a big moment. And normally you'll see some apprehension, some feeling out, some rough work as he catches a straight left hand from Pacquiao. But he went right past that and got right into a good boxing match.
And I think Bradley has the exact, and that's exactly the hook that I thought Pacquiao is going to catch him with, much like Kendall Hope. And this is what I was talking about earlier, Brian, that now the swarming and the rapid punches that Bradley's doing, once you get hit, you are who you are. And essentially, whatever you're made of comes out.
And Robert Byrd, look, I think some of those shots weren't legal.
I agree.
But Robert Byrd, I like the general sensibility he has in fight out of that. Don't look to me. Fight out of that, fellas. And I tell you what, Bradley showed he's got the Bushido. He's got the fighting spirit in that, hey, if I'm close to you, I'm going to try to harm you.
Well, that's the Bradley we're used to seeing. That's the Bradley who came out once he got hit and he felt a little of that power.
Showing no respect for Pacquiao as Bradley steps in and ups the work rate. Yet, he has been caught now and then by something electric by Pacquiao. Anything can happen here.
Yes, and I firmly believe Pacquiao's right hook is going to be the secret weapon tonight.
It just landed too, Mario. You're spot on. That right hook just lands off the side of the head of Bradley, but he was not hurt. Felt it, though. It's a scoring shot.
Took Pacquiao about 2 rounds to sort of warm up and get into the groove of things. But Bradley's doing a good job of sticking to his game plan, still counter-punching, which, by the way, I think is his best plan of attack.
What an answer by Timothy Bradley. As he gets backed up, Bradley then just bulldozed Pacquiao with good, clean punches back to the ropes. I haven't seen that in a long time.
He's fighting a very, very smart fight.
I don't know if I've seen it ever, actually. I've seen big guys bulldoze him. I've seen De La Hoya jab at him, and I've never seen him go back by a guy throwing strong combinations.
He's a bulldog in there. He's smaller. He's able to get into these punches, smaller meaning in height.
But he looks smooth, too, right now. He's throwing out a smooth jab.
He is, and he's taking steps back. I'm telling you, the blueprint has been set on how to make Pacquiao's life complicated in the ring, and that's Juan Manuel Marquez. And that's the page they're turning to now.
Manny Pacquiao going in, wants to hit him with his money shot. Look, Manny Pacquiao has become a superstar by being willing to wade through the fire of Miguel Cotto, of Antonio Margarito. Here, though, he's facing a very different buzzsaw, not a bigger, slower man. A man who's his size, who seems to be just as strong and just as fluid offensively.
A high-volume output is what Timothy Bradley has, a high-volume output. If he's able to stand and trade with him, then it'll get interesting.
Pacquiao, a little frustration there at the end as he ate a jab, a clean shot, and then tried to answer after the bell. Joel Diaz in the corner says, you're controlling the fight. Other words coming in through saying, don't get careless. Wow, a good body shot there by Bradley, acknowledged by Pacquiao. Very different challenge here. Even though with the historic run of Manny Pacquiao, he's facing something very different here. Again, a champ in his prime who is fluid, relaxed, and has a better offensive arsenal than I've seen before.
And has a great strategy that he seems to be implying. This is the blueprint to make his life tough inside the ring. And he's gotten caught with some leather, and he's being disciplined and sticking with the game plan.
There have been 2 occasions as Bradley measures Pacquiao, moves in right away. He's being aggressive. There's been twice as he catches him with a hook where he has been hit with something flush by Pacquiao, and he has not been wobbled. You've got to be sturdy to be able to take any type of shot from Pacquiao.
Well, he's in tremendous shape, and he's shown some good whiskers in the past, Timothy Bradley.
That was a good uppercut there by Pacquiao, and Bradley, if he's been guilty of something in the past that has been a weakness, it's he does lean a bit forward. He can get caught by that.
That was the one thing I was concerned and I would hope would not come up, and hope he didn't jinx it, but headbutts are pretty common in Timothy Bradley fights.
So far, though, what we've seen, a jab and a quick left hand there by Pacquiao lands. So he's getting closer. A good head movement by Bradley there allows him to get out of harm's way.
And you know, Pacquiao not throwing as many combinations or working the body as much as he's used to. Going a lot of head hunting. I don't know if he's got something to prove. And beautiful combination from Pacquiao.
Bradley fires right back. Good, and those are 3-punch combinations he's throwing. And he's throwing them hard. Fires right back. We've got a firefight in the 3rd round.
This is an action-packed fight, and Pacquiao is throwing punches with bad intentions.
That is the difference, too. You're absolutely right, Mauro. And also, there is no, as Teddy Atlas would always say, guy I've worked with for many years, there's no silent contract between the two. When he gets in close, it's not, hey, if you don't hit me, I won't hit you. Bradley is saying, no, it's on. It's
exactly
all on.
Right. I love Teddy Atlas, and you're exactly right, and that's a great reference. A lot of people were questioning whether his newfound faith softened him. I firmly believe faith never softens a man, and he looks hungrier than ever, Pacquiao.
I'll tell you, they're both men of faith. They both have beliefs now in their family. Pacquiao, of course, recently coming to a clean life. I think this is purely an element of what he is facing in the ring as he backs up Bradley now and goes after him. He's facing a man his size for the first time in a long time, but a man who can really fight, and a guy, as you mentioned, has a real game plan, and I've never seen Bradley look smoother off the jab.
You're exactly, this is the best I've ever seen him. In his prime with a great game plan, and seems to be executing it thus far. Couple feints from Pacquiao.
And by the way, living a clean, hard life his whole life.
Yes.
I mean, he has built himself for this moment. Biggest moment of his life. Look at the head movement by Bradley. He got caught with something and moved, but he was just off balance. You could make a case that Timothy Bradley has won all 3 rounds here tonight.
Yes.
I gave the first 2 to Bradley, trying to score it. I know it's not an official score. I'm also calling the fight. But I'm just pointing out what I'm seeing. 3rd round, I think, could have gone either way. That shot might have been low by Bradley. But when you're looking at a Pacquiao fight and you're thinking, hey, it's possible he's down 3-0, that's eye-opening.
Caught it with another right hook right there. I still believe that is going to come into play later on in the fight. Pacquiao not working the body as much, and I'm very surprised that he is not sticking to usually what appears to be his game plan, which is to break down the body and to be a little bit more of a counterpuncher as opposed to the aggressor.
Good body shot there by Bradley. Left hook to the body, and Pacquiao starts to get riled up. He is going to have to fight fire with fire here with Bradley.
Oof, there's that right hook.
Both landed on that. Good exchange by both. Pacquiao now digging in with an uppercut. We're seeing a high work rate here every round.
High work rate. Conditioning is going to come into play, and both these guys don't look like they're getting tired anytime soon.
Pacquiao seems to enjoy the combat. So he seems to be enjoying this as he throws a thudding left hand off the head of Bradley.
He's a warrior at heart. And his facial expressions, still smiling and enjoying this.
I think he just said to Bradley, keep him up.
He's having fun in there.
He really is. He knows he's in there with something serious. I have to say, if I'm in Pacquiao's camp, I'd be concerned about what's happening in the corner. How many guys are talking to him? Where's Freddie Roach? What's going on?
Bradley's doing a great job defensively of bowing down, of that old sort of James Toney tuck and roll, and not getting hit.
Now, he blocked a lot of those shots, but when you're landing all of those and you're putting them out there, that looks impressive to a judge. And this very well could go to the judges. And it's not as if he's laying back and being technical. I'm talking about Bradley. He's actually firing. He's throwing harmful shots at Pacquiao. So it's if I'm thinking as a judge, like if this goes to the cards, he's impressing the judge. Good body shot there by Pacquiao.
If you notice, though, other than this moment, he's been...
Pacquiao lands in the left hand. Landed the left hand, and Bradley wobbled a little bit. It didn't look like much at first, but he snapped the head back, and Bradley could be hurt. Another body shot by Pacquiao. Bradley moving his head.
Bradley seeing the overwhelming amount of punches that you cannot prepare for when you fight a Manny Pacquiao. And this is the type of sparring. He is hurt. He is holding on, and he is
going to hold on.
And taking advantage. And the ref giving him a nice long time to recuperate. Let's see if Manny Pacquiao can take advantage.
That's a good professional move by Bradley. We saw that recently with
nice body shot
against Shane Mosley. He got hurt, he held on. Can Bradley hold on?
Nice body shot and a nice left hook by Pacquiao. Oh, a nice right by Bradley.
Counter right by Bradley punctuates what was a very good round by Bradley until he got rocked. He throws shots from all different angles. As we saw when he did dethrone Marco Antonio Barrera, it's a very unconventional fighter. And it's the shots that you don't see that really hurt you. And it looked like Bradley just got his head moved, and then he spun back. And to see that moment of weakness was alarming.
And Manny Pacquiao smacking the gloves. He's warm now, Brian.
Yep.
He's warm. I think he knows what he's in for, and he's ready to engage.
Absolutely right. He is boxing's great warrior. And he knows what he's in for tonight. He knows he has a great challenge ahead of him, and he seems to be enjoying it. That doesn't mean it might not be Timothy Bradley's night. That's still unfolding.
You're right, and you know what? Regardless, that's the point. He is a true warrior. Doesn't rest on his laurels. Obviously has all the resources he needs and money that he needs to live very comfortably, but still cares about finishing the show out strong. Still wants to knock out his opponent. Still doesn't do enough to just get by. Wants to please people.
Tell you what, he also has, look, he's engaged in the fight now. He's not thinking of winning rounds.
Right.
But if you take a step back, he has to also start winning rounds. Good jab there by Pacquiao. Because you could easily give the first 3 to Bradley. 4th round you give to Pacquiao after Bradley got hurt. As his feet cross again.
He keeps you spinning, and he comes at so many different angles. It's a really hard thing to prepare for.
As the work rate goes down, I think it goes in favor of Pacquiao, Mario.
Because he's got the faster hands.
And the one shot, right. If there's going to be one shot that ends it, it's going to come from Pacquiao and not Bradley. Can Bradley keep that insane work rate? 2 good shots there that both landed. Those are scoring shots to the face of Manny Pacquiao.
Pacquiao still going head hunting a lot. I'd like to see him go to the body more, and I'm sure Freddie would too.
Flicking out a jab is Bradley. This is the first moment we've had to breathe.
This is the first low. I'm surprised Pacquiao has given him this opportunity after having him hurt in this last round.
And just, I would say, you know, just a tinge of energy drain on Bradley's part. Not tired, not coasting, but just stepping off the accelerator a little bit. It's a murderous pace that they're putting themselves through, both of them. And I see it affecting Bradley slightly even now.
And this is a guy, when you look at him, looks like he could fight 100 rounds in a row.
Oh, uppercut, got to Bradley. No, he's hurt, moves back along the ropes. Pacquiao hurt him.
Pacquiao is landing that left hand now, it seems, with a lot more aggression, a lot more frequency.
As Bradley bends down too, he's going to be vulnerable to some sort of uppercut hook hybrid that Pacquiao can throw. The thudding concussive power comes from Pacquiao here. Bradley moving forward now, lunging forward.
And that does not bode well for a Pacquiao uppercut.
Winging power shots from both fighters. They're going to war. Tremendous fight. We saw Timothy Bradley's wife, Monica, earlier, and she was still looking on with trepidation. She knows what her husband is in for. And wasn't it a different corner for Bradley that time, Mario?
Wow, you just saw the body language with Bradley's head down, asking him to not give up, basically. His father came in, whispered words of encouragement. His trainer shouting to him to not give up, to do it for his family, not giving exactly instructions, now trying to get to his core. Coming out pumping a pretty hard jab.
Look, all the while, right, you're absolutely right. That was the corner, a decided change in tone from you're controlling this fight to starting to question him, and they could easily be up 3 rounds to 2. Yeah. At worst, down 2 rounds to 3.
Exactly right.
But they know, look, you're in for something very special here. This is not some ordinary human in Manny Pacquiao. And while he has been, he looks slightly rusty. He's facing a very different animal this time around. But Bradley's still with his hands full. He has come out now. That's 1 minute of this round where it has been all Bradley. If you're a judge, you cannot forget that 1 minute where the jabs have been coming from Bradley.
And Pacquiao has chosen, and I don't know if it's out of respect for his power or just to time him like that, but he's chosen to fight in spurts.
Bradley has been better when he's been on the attack constantly.
Yeah.
Pacquiao, if he's being attacked, cannot unleash the fury on you. And that's what we saw, I think, in the opening 2 rounds at the very least. Bradley was so busy. He was so sharp, so fluid. Pacquiao was just kind of looking back going, what do I do with this guy?
And if you look at the past few fights, too, whether it was Miguel Cotto or even Margarito, Pacquiao always takes like a round or 2 to kind of get the timing, to kind of get the distance, to really kind of figure it out. And it seems to be the case here, and maybe even took it even a little longer because of the delay and warming up. Not to take anything away from Timothy Bradley, who's been executing a great game.
Well, that's it. Even you mentioned, look, Cotto was a complete fighter coming in, and I thought Cotto came in, was the bigger man, was a good boxer, and Pacquiao had to just wade through the fire to take him out. But Cotto and Margarito both don't have the tight hand speed that Bradley has.
Right, short, tight, complex punches.
Compact.
Very compact punches. And, he's done a really good job, Brian, I think, of his defense with that sort of bob and weave style.
This has been a quieter round now, but this is a round that has also scored and means just as much as the other ones.
And he's catching him a lot with those uppercuts. and he's got him in the corner. Let's see. Oh, that's a beautiful body shot.
Two good shots from Pacquiao. Now Bradley in the corner, and here's where the round could be stolen away from him. Pacquiao is looking for that explosive 15 seconds that could win him the round. It certainly does in the court of public opinion here at the MGM Grand.
Oh, beautiful uppercut. Beautiful. Oh, and that's that elusive bobbing head movement that they clearly worked on in camp, and it's turning out really, really well.
Bradley has slowed down just a bit.
And I think if Pacquiao attacked the body, Brian, at this point, he might stop him.
Mario, who won that round, though?
Oh, Manny Pacquiao. He landed a flurry over here of some hard punches and beautiful body work.
As we get ready for round 7 here, it's been a terrific fight. Brian Kenny and Mario Lopez here at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. We've seen great action, but that is the classic case of, do you go for the greater punishment in a short spurt, or a full 2 minutes where it was only Bradley doing the work? I don't have an exact answer, but I'm saying you could give that round to Bradley. I'm pointing that out.
No. Yes, of course you could. I personally, the way I look at scoring, I always look at who would I rather be in that round.
Yeah, at the end of that, certainly. You'd rather be Manny Pacquiao as another uppercut lands. We had a member of Bradley's team come crashing down on the side of our table here.
That was his father.
That was his dad?
He was a big guy. He was okay, he just slipped.
There's just a lot of people in the corner, right? And you can see in both corners now. Everyone wants to get into the ear of their man.
And a lot of concern and dangerously close to headbutting right in front of us here.
Bradley turned around quickly, just fought a little orthodox there for a quick exchange. Very versatile fighter. There's just I would say there's just a little bit of a wane in the energy of Timothy Bradley. I don't know if he could have kept up that pace. He is famously in great shape. But do you sense just a little weakening in him? That's a bad word, but you know what I'm saying.
No, and I don't think it's due to fatigue. I think it's due to those hard left hands that he caught and a couple of those hard body shots.
And then you know what, Mario? He has landed his most effective shots where he hasn't had full impact or leverage. He's just throwing these grazing wild shots.
Yes.
But anytime Pacquiao catches you with those heavy hands of his, he does damage.
Yeah, he's a heavy. He's one of those guys. As you can see him, and you see him up close and personal right now. I know he hadn't called a fight of his before. He's a small guy. He's small by frame, and when you stand next to him, it's just amazing the power that he carries.
He is one of the most physically unimposing champions I've ever seen, and yet he's one of the greatest champions the sport has ever had.
Yes.
Fighting off the ropes now. Pacquiao spinning and throwing a right uppercut. He likes this. Pacquiao likes this.
And this is not the type of exchange that Timothy Bradley wants to get into.
Yeah, he wants it smooth. He wants to stick out the jab. He wants to double up on the jab. By the way, doubling up on the jab has kind of gone away.
It has, and that's what was so effective.
That's a good combination right there. Scored with the body shot.
Oh,
and an
nice
uppercut.
right hand.
Answering with the left hand is Pacquiao. Any of these shots can put someone down.
Pacquiao is brilliant at, if you connect on him, retaliating quickly.
What we don't see right now, and as we get to the final 30 seconds of round 7, Mario, is that frenetic energy that we saw when he was fighting, say, Marco Antonio Barrera. The constant head movement and the dancing and the moving up and down that made him impossible to fight. He is more in front of the man now.
Well, I think that's, again, due to the age and the fact that he's in his 30s now. He's been in so many wars, Brian. We were talking about it. I mean, forget the number of fights that he's had. They've been physical wars, and it's bound to take its toll.
We're through 7. Manny Pacquiao, Timothy Bradley. Manny Pacquiao, a 3-time Fighter of the Year. The only other men to have done so, Evander Holyfield, Sugar Ray Leonard, Joe Frazier, and Muhammad Ali. Wow. That's good company.
Excellent company. He deserves to be there.
Right now, through 7, and again, we're scoring it here as we're calling the fight. But I think, depending on how you scored round 6, Mario, I have it 4-3 either way. I could easily have it 4-3 Bradley. Even though it seems like it's becoming Pacquiao's night, you could. I would not question the judge who had it 4-3 Bradley right now.
Conceivably, I agree. However, I think the most important thing right now is the momentum seems to be with Manny Pacquiao as we go down the stretch.
And they asked in the corner for Timothy Bradley, they asked him, can you give me 5 more of these? Because he needs to be at such a high work rate to beat this man.
Yes,
good body shots by Bradley. Now he tries to fire off a double jab, but misses. Coming in with the head, and now Bradley seems hurt. It was Bradley that ducked in, if I'm not mistaken. Now maybe Pacquiao pulled him in. We'll take another look at that if we get a chance. But Bradley again against Devin Alexander seemed to be jumping in with his head the whole night, and good shot there. Right hook again by Pacquiao. Bradley answers back. Look at the knockouts after round 7. Look, Pacquiao's a machine. Bradley is a guy who will box and beat you and physically impose his will. Rarely, though, will he just drop you with a shot. Pacquiao is smiling as he gets off the ropes.
Pacquiao is used to being against the ropes against some strong, big guys. He's had Clottey, Margarito, Cotto all tee off on him sort of against the ropes, so he's very comfortable there.
Right, it must be different for him fighting someone who's basically his size.
I can't remember the last time Pacquiao fought somebody. He's actually taller than him.
Yeah,
a little shorter than him.
Maybe Barrera? Maybe Marco Antonio Barrera?
Those guys I think were even still taller, or at least as tall, not shorter.
Morales is his size. I mean, Marquez, excuse me, is his size. Yeah, Eric Morales was his size. That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
he had a great...
Eric Morales is taller, though.
Yeah, that's true. If you want to look at the weight, look at the calves, right? They were mentioning before. It's like Prince Nassim Hamed. All the size was in the calves. The punching power can come from there.
Well, that's why he's got to stretch those guys out. It's going to take a second.
A lot of excitement in this fight. Difficult to keep that intensity up through every single round. And they have it here in round 8. It's not a round off, but they just went from, I don't know, 7th to 6th gear. I'm not even talking 5 and 4 anymore. This is at a higher level.
Manny Pacquiao usually likes to close out rounds strong, so let's see.
Bradley trying to move his head, tries to answer as well. A lot of fighters do have trouble with guys who come in with their heads. By the way, both of these guys have large heads.
Yes, they do. That's a really good thing to point out. They have helmets for heads.
I don't have scientific data to back that up. However, just looking at them, Mario, they have large heads.
And I think they'll tell you. They'll tell you.
Round 9, as things start to slow up a little bit. And again, I would say that would favor Manny Pacquiao. Did you agree with that, Mario?
I do agree with that. And he just landed a pretty strong left hand. And Pacquiao's seemed to slow down a little in his work rate.
There's no way you could keep that pace right from the get-go. Both guys came out firing and throwing combinations, murderous combinations. Bradley loses his balance there. You better regain it quickly because Pacquiao did not waste any time pouncing.
Pacquiao has such amazing balance and quick feet.
You're right. You rarely see him out of balance, out of sorts.
You see quick hands often, but it's rare when you see a combination of quick hands and quick feet.
Bradley, you could tell, went to the ropes and thought, I'm okay, I'm far away from him. And then within a millisecond, oh, he's not far away anymore.
He's like Velcro.
Right, most guys you fight will not close you. He's got great closing speed. Oh, beautiful combination.
Uppercuts.
That was a dazzling combination by Manny Pacquiao. And now they start to trade. A lot of time left in this round. Plenty of time to get it on. Beautiful work by Pacquiao.
Oh, and the ref breaking it up right when it gets interesting. Oh, and another beautiful uppercut. Another uppercut. Beautiful left hand by Pacquiao.
Bradley is wading right into the fire. This could be very dangerous.
He's taking chances. He's going for it.
Robert Byrd wanted them both to not, have the clash of heads that we are concerned about. Strafing hook from Bradley as they exchange. Good body shot, and another by Bradley. These are scoring blows. Look, you might go in thinking, hey, Pacquiao should be winning this fight. Bradley doesn't have the same work rate, but I'm not sure if you're actually scoring this fight, who has the lead in this round. That's a scoring shot.
Bradley's been answering really well in this round.
Boy,
Pacquiao's landed some hard shots, but he's been retaliating.
Bradley does not have the same snap on his punches. That went straight up the middle by Pacquiao, and a body shot he follows up. Maybe Pacquiao does wait, as you said. He likes to close out. Maybe he waits for those final 30 seconds. Good digging body shot by Bradley.
That was a beautiful body shot.
Bradley is scoring here. Again, don't look at body language. Look at the body shots.
And that was a nice left hand by Pacquiao. And that right hook just missed.
Bradley seems to be sucking a little wind here, and he's standing a little close to Pacquiao. Now he moves in. You cannot just stand up in front of Manny Pacquiao.
No.
Cannot do it.
If you think you're going to overwhelm him with punches, you got something else coming.
I tell you what, that was quietly a great round. I'm not pro Bradley, I'm pro both guys. But I'm trying to point out, that's a scoring shot. That's a scoring shot.
Sure.
Bradley is still scoring in this round. He looks tired. He looks like one shot could drop him, but it hasn't happened yet. And this will be interesting when it goes to the cards, if it goes to the cards. Championship rounds, round 10 now. Manny Pacquiao, Timothy Bradley. What did we hear in the corner that time, Mario? What did you think?
He was asking, still a little pleading with it. There wasn't as much of a sense of frustration in the corner. He actually worked really well and was pleased with his work. He wants him to do a little bit more of the same and continue to go to the body, which he just did.
Footing shots. That's a three-punch combination. Two of them landed by Bradley. Another shot lands. Bradley landing with the hooks.
Bradley, a lot of respect I'm giving him. Hanging in there tough. He looked like he was on the downward spiral, but coming back.
He looks terrific. This is a gutty performance.
Gutty performance, yeah.
He's in top shape, and yet going those rounds at that level of intensity against, a legendary, energetic fighter has taken its toll. It's slowed him down. Countering right hand by Bradley as he moves away. Bradley's face still looks clean.
It does look very clean. He's cutting a lot of clean shots too. He's got a fighter-friendly face, meaning his features. He doesn't have the Eric Morales nose, if you will.
Right.
He's got a nice big head.
You know what? He's been doing the beatdowns. He hasn't been absorbing them all through his career, and it's a long and decorated career that he's had as an amateur and as a pro. Wow, big right hand just slapped it on the side of the head. Pacquiao as if to say, yeah, that was good. I'll give you that.
Acknowledging.
Straight up the middle comes Bradley. I have to say, Bradley is throwing so many scoring shots. You're scoring this fight. I'll go back to it. He's winning this round.
Yeah, this round, 2 minutes in, and it's a Bradley round so far.
Just good, solid boxing work, right? Throwing double jabs up the middle, throwing winging hard shots. He keeps moving away from Pacquiao in his power left hand.
This is world-class fighting right here. These two guys, world-class athletes. One's in his prime, and one we were about to find out if he still is in his prime. And you know, maybe a little's been gone. A couple miles of left of curveball, the fastball, I should say, but it's still enough to take on the best in the world.
We just saw Floyd Mayweather fight Miguel Cotto and fight straight in front of him. Suddenly he's not on his toes dancing anymore. That happens when you reach your mid-30s.
And the irony, it makes for much more entertaining fights.
Yep. When you slow down, suddenly it gets exciting. Final 15 seconds here of round 10. Take a look sometime if you want. I know, Mario, you will. At De La Hoya Mosley 1, De La Hoya Mosley 2. The dancing went away for round 2. Fast hands. The hands are just as fast in the second fight. But the feet were both gone for the second fight as opposed to the first time they met. And the basic tenor of the conversation in the corner after round 10 for Timothy Bradley was time to be a warrior. You have 6 minutes left to achieve your lifetime goal and win a mega fight. Not just look great and win respect. He's done that already. But to actually win a mega fight against a great fighter, and that was a good shot.
And Brian, in this close fight, the fate could very well be in these last 6 minutes.
Yep. Look, I could be out of my mind, Mario, and maybe I'm talking myself into it, but I could easily give the last 2 rounds to Bradley. The 10th definitely, maybe even the 9th.
It's not far-fetched at all.
Consistent work by Timothy Bradley, and has kept the explosive champion and #1 fighter in the sport at bay. Just good, solid work, which is exactly what we expected. This is a man strong physically, strong mentally. I'll go back to my good friend Teddy Atlas, who often talks about a fighter who goes in and crumbles, and he says later, they were fractured. There's no fracture. There's no any type of dent in Timothy Bradley.
There was never a question in my mind that I think he would wilt under any sort of psychological pressure or dealing with any sort of adversity. He's a tough guy, raised by a tough man. He had some tough circumstances growing up, you know, and he dealt with the tornado that is Pacquiao early on, and he seems to have made a nice adjustment in counter-punching and letting his jabs go a little bit more, and worked himself back in this fight.
You're absolutely right, because mid-rounds, it looked as though the momentum had indeed shifted, and it was about to become Pacquiao time. That has not happened. Not the way we see it. We could be wrong.
Well, you could tell by the crowd, who is really pro-Pacquiao here, hasn't been as vocal as they've been in the middle rounds.
That's an excellent point. They've been lulled to sleep by a man just with a good, sharp jab and a lifetime of work and dedication. We could be seeing a tremendous upset. Bradley moving away.
And those hooks barely missing. Very important. The most thing I'm impressed by tonight is Bradley's defense. I didn't realize he had that sort of elusive defense for Manny Pacquiao. The bobbing and weaving. He's a cagey guy.
He has only been hit with a few things on the side of his head that has wobbled him. He has never been pummeled. He has never accepted punishment in the corner as he spins out right now. Look at the footwork by Bradley.
Blood coming from Pacquiao's nose or mouth. One, I saw some stream of blood come.
We are in the final seconds here of the 11th round. This fight has flown by. 1 round to go in Las Vegas. Final round, and it's been terrific. Manny Pacquiao, Timothy Bradley. These have been very difficult rounds to score. All I know is that Timothy Bradley has made a great account of himself, and he's extremely competitive here. Could he be on the verge of an upset? It's possible. Could we just be on the verge of another great Pacquiao effort and he gets the win? That's possible as well.
What we know for sure is Bradley can hold his head up high. He fought with a lot of courage, showed a lot of heart, and people are going to respect this performance. He came here to win.
And look, win or lose, he's in the mix, and the mix includes Pacquiao rematch that he was trumpeting. Of course, he would figure that he would have won to have to get that. Or possibly Mayweather. Mayweather in jail right now, but he gets out in 3 months. Who knows? But he's in the mix for big fights, there's no question. This fight is definitely in question. You wonder if Pacquiao is going to try to close the show, if he'll try to do something superhuman.
I was just going to lead to that. Pacquiao would be nice if he picked up a little of the activity, try to finish strong, not to leave any doubts.
I think they just used most of their ammo in the first 6 rounds, Mario. I think that they exhausted each other. Good work by Bradley inside. And more from Bradley.
Bradley caught him with a good hard shot there.
They told Timothy Bradley in his corner, this is the most important round of the fight.
Important round of his life.
Look, I'm not someone who believes that you need to knock out the champ to take his title. I think you win it on rounds. If you win, you win.
I agree 100%. If you cross that finish line, once you cross the race, whether it's by an inch or by a mile, a win's a win.
Final minute of the fight. Let's see if either fighter can put the accelerator down to the floor. They jump into each other there awkwardly. Boy, the crowd, you can hear the buzz. They're waiting for something big, and Bradley with a good answer. It was Bradley who's catching Pacquiao.
Bradley really got reinvigorated the second half of this, or I should say the last 20% of the fight, last couple of rounds.
He's been fighting very smart the last 3 rounds.
It's like he caught a second win.
Yeah, now he's jumped. He's given it everything he has. He's worked his whole life for this moment to fight the best fighter in the world.
30 seconds left.
He's been right there every single round. No matter how it's judged, he's done something terrific here tonight. The crowd going for Manny Pacquiao. The chance going up. Final seconds. Pacquiao jumps in with a straight left, tries to go with the lead left hand. You know what? I'd like to see 3 more rounds.
That was a great fight.
That was a terrific fight.
Jerry Roth scores the bout 115-113 for Pacquiao. CJ Ross scores it 115-113 for Bradley. And Dwayne Ford scores it 115-113 to the winner by split decision. And new WBO welterweight champion of the world, the Desert Storm, Timothy Bradley.
He did it. He absolutely did it. And don't be shocked. 7-5 was the score on all 3 judges' cards. I can't argue with any one of the 3 cards. They had it 7-5. 2 of them, Dwayne Ford and C.J. Ross, had it 7-5, Timothy Bradley. And there were rounds there that Manny Pacquiao took off.
As a reminder, obey my commands at all times. protect yourself at all times. If you want to touch him up, good luck.
All week long, we've heard about the size discrepancy, how Haney is the naturally much bigger man, but he did his job. He got down to 135 pounds, but 36 hours to rehydrate. Now you see them just in their trunks, ready to go at it. Here we go for undisputed. It is underway, round number 1. Harvey Doc will get him going. What do you sense in terms of the size difference to your eye now when you see him rehydrated?
I mean, it's clear that Devin Haney is taller and he's the bigger fighter, but that doesn't, I'm not putting any stock in that. Devin Haney had to drain that big frame that we're talking about. He had to drain that down. Loma didn't have to work as hard. It goes both ways.
That's right.
Here's the fight. Let's see what happens.
What kind of a toll does it take when you're the bigger man to have to make weight?
Ooh, nice shot right there. First shot thrown.
Haney probes to the body with a right hand after the hook. Remember, he said, I want to push him back.
A lot of talk about Loma having to start faster because he's fell behind in his last 2 fights, but both fighters need to start early and set the tone.
Slow starts have gotten the best of Loma. Remember the loss to Teofimo. It was a very slow start for the entire first half of that fight. Even against Jermaine Ortiz, he came in strong late in his last fight.
That sequence right there was interesting. Haney was coming forward, and as soon as Haney took a step back, Loma stepped forward immediately.
Loma on the inside lands a short left hand at the end of that 3-punch combination.
This is going to be a high-stakes chess match, ebbs and flows, adjustments being made, big shots being landed, quick, clean shots being landed. This is what we're in for tonight.
That is the promotional thematic of this undisputed fight. A chess match. 2 brilliant fighters with speed, with ring IQ, with great ability. And Loma has said all week long, it's about the guy who adapts best and adapts first.
You have 2 of the most tactical and technical fighters in the world today.
Haney trying to work behind that jab. Here's what Loma does on the inside. Lets the hands go. Nothing met with force there.
Good
back
defense
out to
from
range.
Devin Haney. Yes.
Indeed.
And way to land 2 shots. Grazing, but he punched after to let Loma know, after you punch, I'm going to punch. A lot of small messages being sent from both guys right now.
And a message being sent by the crowd here, 17,000 at MGM Grand, and you can clearly hear a Loma, Loma, Loma chant.
Step back, step back.
Not a whole lot of downloading going on. Lomachenko is starting fast. He's already cut the distance already. He's gotten close.
Yeah, but he's not landing, Tim.
No, he's not landing.
Devin Haney looks like a man with a game plan. He knows what Loma's going to bring, and he's adjusted very well to the foot movement of Lomachenko, which typically has opponents wide-eyed even in the first round.
Yeah, that foot movement that closes the gap, gives angles, and then allows him to score. Yes, he's closing the gap. Yes, he's getting angles, but not much scoring, and you just saw it there with the upper body movement and the head movement of Devin Haney. He's avoiding those punches.
Don't get credit for effort.
For now.
Loma.
He didn't avoid all of those.
Trying to be effective in that neutral corner. End of the round had the 4-punch combination by Lomachenko. Early on, the left hook by Devin Haney. According to CompuBox, each man landed 6 punches precisely in that first round.
I'm going to tell you right now, adjustment's going to have to be made right away from Haney because that first round, Loma was able to close the distance already. That's trouble. I smell trouble for Devin Haney late in this fight.
Heard Bill Haney, the father and trainer of Devin, saying attack, attack, attack.
The goal for Team Haney is not to outbox Loma. It's to press Loma. It's to touch Loma every chance he gets and to ultimately allow the size and the skill to pay dividends.
But he has to do it with combinations. He can't do it with 1-2 punches at a time. If you want to force Lomachenko back, throw your combinations.
It's too early for that, Tim.
Devin Haney has had a great jab throughout his entire career. Arguably the best jab, according statistically, the best jab among lightweights, number 6 overall in all of boxing. There's a long striding right hand to the body. But the last time he faced a southpaw was Jojo Diaz, and his jab was not as effective against the southpaw Diaz. He only landed 10 total jabs in 12 rounds.
Good shot right there from Loma. Good counter that grazed Loma from Haney. Haney's doing what he needs to do. It's 2s and 3s, control distance, control range, and try to start to write the story of the fight. Good
nice
body
shot right there.
from
Right hand
Haney
gets
right
underneath.
There.
A right hand to the body by Haney.
3s, 4s, and 5s. It's too early for that. It's a long fight. Good shot right there from Haney.
Haney getting underneath with that right hand. Effective work in the midst of round number 2 to the body.
Good defense, good prevent defense right there, where Loma wanted to come in, but the physical strength of Haney said no.
Nice counter right there.
And then the counter right hand from
off
Devin
the back
Haney.
foot. Oh, there's a combination from Loma. Getting mid-range.
Loma closing that gap and letting those hands go. There is no downloading here. This is high-level stuff right from the start.
Listen, this fight is dangerous for both guys. Nobody can let off the gas. Nobody can lose focus. Loma is going to have moments. Haney is going to have moments. You just need to have more moments than your opponent.
Ooh, straight left hand right down the middle.
And the crowd reacts
Set up off
to
the
chant
footwork.
of Loma again. Both guys looking absolutely primed. Right hand to the body again from Devin Haney. Straight left from Vasily Lomachenko.
Loma inching forward, trying to land a little bit more in the second round.
And again, Lomachenko throwing not
shot.
1 or 2 punches at a time. He's throwing his punches in combinations when he gets in the range that he wants to be in. There it is.
End of 2 as we will listen in to Lomachenko's corner.
Take advantage of those openings because he keeps his hands up really high, exposing his body.
So the CompuBox numbers are comparable, but in that last round, even though Lomachenko landed 9, Haney landed 10, 5 of those landed punches were effective body punches by Devin Haney.
You have to know that Loma's going to have his moments in this fight. He's a great fighter, a lot of accomplishments, and he's been a winner his whole life. But it's how Devin Haney manages those onslaughts from Lomachenko and how he answers will determine how this fight is fought.
Another thing that Haney has gotten away from is that left hook. Use that left hook. That'll stop Loma from getting around to his weak side. And when he throws it, he needs to throw it at the shoulder. So that way, Loma, if he dips underneath it, it's going to connect. Good right hand counter.
Looking to counter that left hand of Loma. Does so with a viper-fast right hand. Younger undisputed champion. He has great athleticism. And he feels like he's stronger and more explosive with the strength and conditioning work that he has been doing lately.
Loma tried to get off a clip, and Haney smothered him. Good move by Devin Haney. Small investments that pay up the road.
Left hand.
Double left hand.
By Lomachenko. He doubles it up. So Loma with a moment of success halfway through round number 3.
Haney trying to get real physical on the inside.
And we're trying to close that gap again. Find a home for that left hand.
Haney can't allow the engine of Lomachenko to get going because you'll start to see those 3s, 4s, and 5s. He's got to tuck his defense really tight and turn to the side and use angles like Loma does and use that against him and hit him on the angles.
These are the moments that Harvey Dock was brought in for. Those moments on the inside with the tie-up. He said, if you got the free hand, I'm going to let you work.
I'm seeing signs of vintage Loma right now.
What is that, Timmy?
Angles. Getting to the spot real quickly where he wants to be. He's fighting harder than ever right now. Getting off to a fast start.
If you're Loma, you want to keep doing what he's doing in this last round and a half.
Headshot lands.
Keep pressing, keep causing disruption, keep trying to close the distance, and make Devin Haney
uppercut comes in.
That he can do something about it.
Southpaw jab set it up, and Loma with a combination here in the final minute of round 3, and then a left hand hits the target.
He's at the range where he wants to be, Tess. Easy. He has closed the range and found his range already, making contact on Haney. Haney has to maintain that distance or it's going to be easy pickings for Lomachenko.
Haney needs to answer that. That's how he gets the respect.
With combinations.
There is no slow start tonight. This is high-level stuff between these two elite fighters. Quick break and right back to action. Vasily Lomachenko has a 26-25 connect advantage. According to CompuBox, at this point, he has landed 23 of his 26 punches as power punches.
It's not just the power and the footwork of Lomachenko that spooks opponents, frustrates opponents, and gets opponents out of their game. It's the accuracy.
And the IQ.
He hits you with a shot, and you wonder, how did he get that off? Good shot right there from Devin Haney. He needs more of that.
Get on his head. Stop, stop. Stop. Don't lean on his head. Don't lean on his head.
See, and Haney needs to take advantage of any time he sees Lomachenko out of position with his feet not set. See, like there, that's when he has to attack. Lomachenko stepped back, disengaged. He was out of position. He could throw for anything. Nice way to get out of angle.
To the side. And then a three-punch combination.
Look at the hand speed of Loma.
Both fighters fighting a good fight.
Yes, they are.
It is.
High-level stuff.
As advertised, exactly as advertised.
Oh, straight left hand down the middle. Again, Haney keeping his head on the line. Every time he shoots that jab, that head is right on that line of fire. Lomachenko is a smart fighter. He understands. He sees that.
And don't get it twisted because there's skill on display here. This is also a test of the wills, even early on in this fight, that I'm going to impose my will, my game plan on you. That's what's happening for both fighters right now.
Small adjustment right now for Haney. What he's doing is now he's operating on the back, trying to keep his distance. Nice hook right there. Check hook as he's off the back foot. Another one. Beautiful shot. He might have found something there, Tess. It's not the right hand. It may be the hook for Lomachenko.
Trying to angle off to that right side. When he's at his best, you think he's in front of you, and then all of a sudden he isn't. And with that, it creates an offensive attack.
Ooh. Good shot right there from Haney.
It was the right hand from Haney. Tries to come with it again as Lomachenko broke off to his right.
Haney now boxing well off his back foot. Turning Loma.
Lead left hand that scores for Lomachenko there.
Game plan was for Haney to back Loma up, but he's boxing very well on the back foot, being a counterpuncher.
Oh, southpaw jab snaps back.
That was a leaping jab.
Good counter from Haney. Both guys landed.
And now Haney trying to work behind that jab himself.
Now here comes Haney.
And they go down when they get tied up.
Small message being sent. We're not going to play on the inside. I can manhandle you if I need to, from Lomachenko.
It's a good round for
Body
Haney.
shot comes in
Really
at
good
the end
round
there.
for Haney.
Haney scored a body shot. Now at distance, you'll see plenty of that jab. Short right hand on the inside. End of 4. 4 rounds in the books, and with that, let's check in with Max Kellerman as to how you're scoring it, Max.
Haney's winning 39-37. He won the first 2 rounds. The second, both of them close. The second round very close. The third round I gave to Lomachenko, and Haney took the fourth, although it was competitive. Each round is competitive. Haney doing enough to negate Lomachenko's best work in most of the rounds so far.
So that's how Max Kellerman sees it, 3 rounds to 1. So left hook early in the first round for Haney.
Good
right
sweeping
to the
body shot from Haney. Another one.
Another one.
The reason why Loma's not blocking that very well is because he doesn't know how to defend on the inside. He's got so many amateur fights where that's not a thing that's taught in the amateurs. Been a pro for a long time, but doesn't have a boatload of fights as a professional.
Right hands to the body. He has found success there. He's landed 17 body punches to this point. Early on in round number 5 has Devin Haney, the 24-year-old undefeated, undisputed lightweight champion.
That's where size plays.
Ooh, nice uppercut.
Right uppercut on the inside.
When he bumped him, right?
That's where size plays a role.
Comes with the right uppercut again. And now just obstructing with that lead hand, that jousting left hand.
Loma's got to work really hard to land a shot like that. He's got to get through the reach.
He does there.
And he has a good moment right there with Haney against the ropes.
Again, Haney's head is directly down on the firing range. He doesn't move his head well after he shoots a punch.
It's deceptive because Loma will be to the side of you, but yet land a punch right down the middle.
That's that Manny Pacquiao. That's what I call that. Get his head on the outside.
1-2 by Haney and return fire from Loma.
There's some good high levels. There's some good
Oh my goodness, I'm not gonna lie. It is. High level stuff going on right now.
The speed and the decisiveness of the actions of each fighter is really defining it, isn't it?
Yes.
When you say high level, when you say great
The decision making.
Yes,
that
high
each
level,
fighter is
fast
making.
decision making.
Good jab.
Both men going to the body.
Haney avoided all of that from Loma.
Trying to sweep with the right hand to the body. Loma able to use his footwork to get out of the way.
Again, that double left hand is coming straight down the middle on Haney. 2-1 combination right after that.
Chopping down because he got to that interior range.
Got into the interior range, and the left hand of Haney is down.
Good
body work, though. Those body shots are accumulating. Gonna take a lot out of Loma late.
Right uppercut if
yes,
he
it
didn't
is.
land it. Loma looking for some rest to finish out this round. Haney needs to close strong.
Cloud reacting to absolutely everything. End of 5. Total punches, you see 49 to 44. Slight advantage for Haney. More accurate at 27%. But among those total punches landed, 23 body punches. 23 body connects as we start round 6.
Good sneaky left hand from Haney as Loma tried to sneak out the side door. He said, take this with you.
And again, you see right there, when Haney's punching, Loma is defending. He's protecting the top, but he's out of position with his feet.
Stop. Stand back.
I think Haney can pick up his jab even more.
Yes, and that hook.
He's at his best when he picks up the jab, but there was a left hand by Lomachenko that found the mark.
He anticipated that one. He knew the jab was coming. He knew the single jab was coming, and he came right behind it. Good body work.
Right hand to the body again. Comes back with a left to the body. Then goes up top with a short right hand. Lomachenko with a 3-punch combination that was capped by a short left uppercut on the inside. Now both men trading in the kitchen. Lomachenko a 1-2 before the tie-up, separated by Harvey Dock.
Great exchange from both guys.
Yes, it is.
It was. Halfway through round 6.
But if Haney wants to do better on the inside, he needs to shorten his shots and he needs to run them in combination, 3s and 4s.
I think Loma better start trying to throw some body shots as well.
Yeah.
He's only landed 4
that
to this
2-1
point.
Combination, again, taking advantage of that lead hand of Haney being down.
That's a 1-2 from the southpaw stance. Good shot right there.
That's clean. That's clean. That was clean.
Good job by the ref establishing what's clean and what's not in this fight. To
I think
eliminate
Harvey
any
Dock,
confusion.
Dre, I think we can say Harvey Dock to this point has done a very
Fantastic.
good job where there was great concern all week long.
He's a great ref. He's staying out the way, and he's only doing and saying what he needs to.
Right hand to the body again.
Nice
Left uppercut comes underneath with the right hand, does Haney.
The rib cage, the left side of Loma is reddened by those looping right hands from Devin Haney.
All right? No, you hit him back there. Don't do that.
Warning from Harvey Dock.
I believe that might be the second warning for a shot behind the head for Haney. Good defense from Devin Haney.
Prevent.
Good poise
Prevent.
in that corner by not allowing Loma to get off the way that he likes to.
See the footwork right there. There it is. Out of position, getting hit with that right hand. Lomachenko not set. Can't punch from there.
When we talk about the defense of Devin Haney and what he's capable of. Through 6 rounds, Loma, 27% of his power punches landed. He came in landing 48% typically in his fights. So Haney's doing a good job against the power punches and reducing the proficiency of Lomachenko. Now, after that last round, we heard his father, Bill, say, I want you outside. I want you to work the stick here. Let's see if he gets to the jab and stays on the outside. Oh, Loma! Left hand from Loma.
3 shots, 3 left hands from Loma.
Haney cannot get relaxed, not 1 second in the ring with Loma.
Neither one of these guys can get that way.
Well, that's what happened. He got relaxed, got a little lackadaisical, and Loma made him pay for it.
It's a two-way street.
Oh, yeah.
Turn around.
It's a two-way street.
Sitting in front, not doing anything.
Stop.
Look at
throws him away.
Look at Loma trying to say, yeah, I'm physically strong. Trying to send a message to Haney.
You know, that huge shove yesterday on the face-off after the weigh-in,
Good
trying
body
to send a
shot from
message, I'm
Loma.
going to push you around.
I think Loma needs to go downstairs He doesn't, not throwing a lot of body shots. We're not
he
seeing that
hasn't.
straight left to the body like we normally see.
Let him go. Stop, stop.
I don't know if he's afraid to get countered or he feels like Haney's too far away and doesn't want to reach, but he needs to throw there. Good shot.
Ooh. Short right hand from Devin Haney. Then he goes to the body again, right to the belt line.
That's straight a bit.
Loma working his way in, doubling up that left hand.
Nice move, nice move. Taking his head off the line, Lomachenko, and then coming with 2 left hands.
Haney double jab, no right hand behind it. Loma closes the gap, nearly a clash of heads.
When the fight gets interesting in a championship fight, the back half, the 7th round on. Now we see how hard you train. Now we see what type of lifestyle you've been living. This is when it all comes out.
And how bad you want it. And how bad you want it.
They want it badly. For Lomachenko, he says, it's all I've ever dreamed about, being undisputed, having all 4 belts. For Haney, he wants validation.
Haney looked at it but didn't throw it.
It was there. It was there. Loma was bracing himself for it.
Oh! He felt that.
He caught him.
That all came because Devin Haney picked up his jab and began to throw it. Loma's looking for a jab. A left hook came instead. Haney looking to counter with the right hand.
Oh, good shot. Big exchange there to close out this round. Dave Moretti is one of the judges. This is his 4th Lomachenko fight. Tim Cheatham is one of the judges. He did Bivol Canelo, Bivol's unanimous decision win. And David Sutherland is the other judge. And he is often the hired gun when Nevada goes outside of their pool of judges. But they will be tasked with that chore if we get the distance.
It'll be interesting if this fight stays like this all the way through, because Devin Haney is viewed as the villain. I don't think that's the accurate view, but that's how he's viewed after what he did yesterday. And you never know how the judges are looking at that or scoring some of these exchanges.
Christina Poncher, what is going on in the corner of Lomachenko?
Anatoly telling his son to continue to defend yourself, but I want you to keep up the pressure. Keep backing him up and use combination punches, but remember to defend yourself.
Anatoly, a.k.a. Papachenko, the 59-year-old father, the 2-time trainer of the year of Vasily Lomachenko.
A lot of moments and opportunities.
Stop, stop. No knockdown. No knockdown. No knockdown.
For Haney, it's been passed up. He'll throw a good shot. He'll get Lomachenko where he needs to, out of positioning, and he doesn't follow up with his attacks.
Good patience and good right hand from Devin Haney right there as Loma plows in.
Double left hand. I knew it was coming. I anticipated that.
Didn't have much on it, though.
It scored.
It scored. Good counter from Loma. Good initial shot from Haney.
Loma using that pull counter now. Staying close enough. Then he gets out of range and he attacks right back.
Haney has no problem landing the right hand to the head or to the body when he throws his jab. He gets hit when he falls asleep in between exchanges, and Loma leaps in and takes advantage.
And the odd thing is Loma is not doing anything about it. Full counter coming. Straight left hand, double left hand is coming. Good jab.
Southpaw jab from Lomachenko instead.
Again, Loma's going to keep throwing that shot because it continues, it's landing over and over and over. Let's see what Haney does to elude it now.
Good shot from Loma. Good shot from Haney.
Good counter,
It's a straight left hand from Loma and the counter right hand from the undisputed champ.
Those are moments right there, clear moments that Haney can continue to press forward with his combinations, because Loma will play defense up top, but his legs are not set to punch.
Ooh, good one.
Good 1-2.
1-2 from Haney after Loma crossed that threshold trying to get to the inside. Loma trying to close that gap here in the closing moments of round number 8. Joe Tessitore, Andre Ward, Tim Bradley ringside. Up at our set position, Mark Kriegel and Max Kellerman, who's scoring the fight. Max, how do you see it right now?
You know, I see it as an even fight. I have it 4 rounds to 4. I thought Loma just tied it up last round, but like the early rounds, he's barely winning these rounds, putting combinations together a little bit by Haney, and Haney's right hand to the body in the last couple rounds hasn't been quite as devastating as it was in the first half of the first 4 rounds of the fight.
I got it 4 apiece, 2. I got Loma coming on. But the telltale sign I told you at the beginning of the evening was, could Loma pass Haney on his left-hand side? And he hasn't done it yet.
I think this is going to be a very difficult fight to tally up, because you can see it so many different ways. There's been such effective work by Haney, especially like that to the body. There's been so much effective work from Lomachenko with the left hand. What are the judges looking for?
Yeah, it's difficult scoring, even when it shouldn't. Ooh, good shot right there.
It's chopping down. Haney backs into that corner, comes out of it.
Shot right there.
With a Viper strike, Loma tries to close the distance.
Hands are free.
Again, straight left hand from Loma. Can't miss with the left hand.
Snap the head back of Devin Haney.
Stop, stop, stop. Step back, step back.
Both guys trading power shots. That's the shot that Loma's looking for. The straight left hand. It's money. Another jab.
Good 2-piece from Loma.
Loma closes range and sends off a 4-bunch combination, and then back to distance in that jab, that excellent jab of Haney.
And when does Loma have success? When he's moving forward. When he's moving forward, that's when he's having success, not when he's moving backwards.
I'm here, I'm here. Good.
Left hand again by Loma. Starting to see some fatigue right now from Haney. That was a good body shot. They traded shots right there, going back and forth.
His mouth is open. I think there's some blood coming from the mouth of Devin Haney.
He's exhausted. I mean, mentally, you have to deal. Ooh, beautiful shot right there, counter.
Both fighters,
you got man,
breathing. They're fighting at a high pace.
Unreal.
It's a lot of mental pressure, but they're in great shape. I don't think any fighter's exhausted right now. They're both doing a great job.
We should have that conversation about mental pressure when the 10th round starts, because even in the non-punching moments, there is intense pressure with this matchup. Just the footwork alone and the presence of each man. 10th round. Dre, you talk about the mental pressure of this matchup.
Listen, to me, these are the championship rounds. I don't score 11 and 12. I scored 10, 11 and 12. And both fighters need as many of these 3 rounds as they can, because you don't know how these judges are scoring. When we think we know, we don't know. When it's a clear-cut win, we don't know. So we certainly don't know in this moment. The mental pressure is still on, but both fighters got to find a way.
What I heard in that corner from Haney was that he's on to me. He knows exactly what I'm doing. That Lomachenko, with that high boxing IQ, was able to figure him out. And Haney looking for answers from his corner. Oh,
good shot. That hurt.
He hurt him with that.
On the inside from Lomachenko.
That hurt him.
Lomachenko's best moment of the fight. It comes in round 10.
Came out of nowhere. Explosive. Right on the target.
I'm telling you. Accurate, sharp, quick, precise punches from Lomachenko.
That's the kind of separation that either guy needs to try to put themselves in a position where they can get a clear-cut decision.
Combination on the inside from Lomachenko halfway through round 10.
Lomachenko now is timing the single shots of Haney.
A little bit of swelling around the left eye of Devin Haney. Short right hand from Haney on the inside. Goes underneath to the body.
Look, Loma standing his ground, standing his ground.
Loma gets to the inside.
There it is.
Work that free hand, and Harvey Dock will separate him.
That's not a dirty move. That's just Loma being physical, using the hand that's free.
As the referee Harvey Dock told him, is completely legal.
But you see, Loma's not moving back anymore. He's not moving backwards. He's walking forward now.
little by little, inching forward. Left hand scored moments ago. Loma having a very good 10th round.
He's trying to set a trap right now. It's the left hand he's looking for.
Catches him again with a left hand.
There it is.
Mental fatigue sets in, and you start getting hit with shots that you weren't getting hit with early in the fight. Devin Haney's gotten hit more in this round than he has in any other round in this fight.
Loma again, there it is.
Jab. He comes in with the left hand again, does Loma.
He's already figured out the sequence already. Loma has figured out the sequence. Now you see him moving back. He's setting traps now for that left hand.
Big round for Lomachenko.
Yeah, the clearest round for Lomachenko of the night.
I was just in the corner of Devin Haney, and as he was getting instructions from his father, Harvey Dock came over and said, watch those shots to the back of the head. I'm going to take a point.
He did give warnings earlier, so we will watch for that. You see the advantage of Lomachenko with the punches landed in the last round. After that last round, a clear Lomachenko round, Tim Bradley,
here he comes.
Bill Haney told his son, you're winning the fight. There is under 6 minutes to determine who's the undisputed champion.
Oh.
And he told him you're winning the fight. Combination from Lomachenko again. Championship rounds, and Lomachenko has momentum.
These last few rounds determine this fight.
Razor close. So hard to score so many rounds up until the last round.
But this is that point when I was
Another
saying,
combination from Lomachenko.
Where either the young fighter is going to rise his game right now, or he's going to fade. Lomachenko has that experience. He can feel it, and he feels Haney fading right now. That's why he's stepping on the gas, testing him, trying to knock him out.
Oh, up jab, southpaw jab, and another one. Lomachenko so accurate right here in round number 11.
And physical, Tess, and
he's looking like the bigger man right now with the physicality. Haney's got to figure this out now, because Loma's not slowing down.
No, he's coming. Next round, he's going to come.
The smaller 35-year-old seems like the younger, bigger man.
2-3 punch combination from Loma, right in Haney's face, daring him to throw, daring him to shoot a shot, because he's in range to counter and lead at will.
And another jab from Loma that snaps back the head of Haney.
And I'm not seeing the answer from Haney like we have throughout this fight.
And his technique has gone by the wayside, meaning Haney. That's the reason why Loma is having success. Oh, beautiful body shot.
Look at this work from Lomachenko. They questioned how much he had left.
Set the trap.
This is when you rise. These are the moments right here.
He went away for nearly a year to serve his country, defending Ukraine. He came back, had a shake-off rust, and now looking as good as he ever has here in these championship rounds against the young, undefeated, unblemished, undisputed champion on his home turf.
I don't know what Devin Haney is feeling in his body, but if he loses a close decision by 1 or 2 rounds, 3 rounds, he's going to regret not fighting harder and being more assertive in this 10th, 11th, and we'll see about the 12th round. This has been all Vasily Lomachenko these last 2 rounds.
Remember, Bill Haney told his son just moments ago, you're winning the fight. What will he tell him now going into the 12th and final round? Let's listen in. 12th and final round to determine it all. Lomachenko starts this 12th round with a connect advantage of 111-99. The last round, 20-2.
Stop. Give me your gloves. Give me your gloves.
Loma has all the momentum late. Haney was good early. Which way will it go?
The moments you dream of right here. These are the moments you dream of. A close, tight fight. The crowd is going crazy. You might be down, you might be up. You don't know. You got to dig deep, and you got to find something right now.
This is why boxing seemingly plays like a movie on the grandest stage. The ebbs and flows, the plot twist, the unexpected. And now, can one of boxing's longtime leading men have a starring role one last time? Can Lomachenko become an undisputed champion? Or will Haney stamp himself as the rising star that he's been?
Good left hook, good right hand left hook from Haney. See if Loma can steal the play and get that back.
He's going to come on. He's building right now. That's what he's doing. He's getting Haney where he wants him to be, and then he's going to explode the combinations. Wait for it.
So see Haney with the assertiveness the last 3 rounds. I don't know if it's fatigue.
It's fatigue.
I don't know if it's just him getting hit with big shots. I'm not sure what it is. He's punching,
good right hand,
but not with the same assertiveness.
Because he's moving backwards, Dre.
Last 90 seconds to determine it all.
Somebody's got to close.
Somebody got to finish.
Somebody's got to close.
Come on. Show your greatness. This is time. Show it.
Step back, step back.
Good defense right there from Loma. Staying
right
close. Staying close, though.
That shot on the way out, though.
There it is.
Good combos from Loma.
Here he comes.
Good counter from Haney.
Haney tries to go underneath with a right hand.
Back and forth action.
45 seconds left. Who's going to close? Good shot right there from Haney.
Right
Good
hand
touch.
from Haney again, Dre.
Little touch up top from Loma.
But Loma's staying close enough. You see he's staying close enough, absorbing that body shot, and he's throwing his left hand right after.
Comes with the left hand, and then they tie up.
30 seconds
Last
left.
half minute of a close round. Haney's looked better in this 12th. Loma's still right there. So tries to go underneath to the body again.
One went low, one was good. Good shot right there from Haney.
Will somebody steal it in the final moments here, this 12th round?
Oh, they're both going to try in this last 10
There's the
seconds.
clap. They're going to bring it to the bell. High drama all night long. Loma combination. Haney back to the jet. Hey, that was great stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, here inside the MGM Grand Garden Arena after 12 rounds, it is now time for the Bud Light celebration decision as we go to the judges' scorecards. Dave Moretti scores the bout 116-112. Tim Cheatham and David Sutherland both score the bout 115-113. All in favor of your winner by unanimous decision. And still undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Devin the Dream Haney!
Devin Haney is 30-0. He defends the undisputed lightweight championship by defeating Vasily Lomachenko in a classic. And you can see the expression on Lomachenko's face.